Hey everybody, how's it doing? How's it going, Todd?
I'm doing good, Adam. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
Right
Definitely
on. Thanks for
appreciate
having
you.
me on.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you stopping by, and hopefully we have a real nice, unique topic to talk about here that we don't hear a lot about on the internet, which is diet shame that you may encounter on past diets that you've been on, and you maybe didn't have so much success on. So yeah, we're going to touch on that a little bit today, and hopefully provide a little bit of encouragement for others, and just maybe do some Q&A at the end, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Absolutely. So, how's your day going?
It's going good. It was going good right up until about 5 seconds ago when I had all kinds of technical issues right before this live. But I plowed through it, and I'm here, and hopefully the internet connection is good enough to stay. So,
For sure. That's
how
always
about
a
you?
prayer. I am stuffed. I joined that I joined on Lindy's kind of story. I joined that steak and butter gang,
Uh huh.
because I just felt the last I don't know, maybe 6, 8 weeks of carnivore, I could kind of almost feel my energy level dropping a little bit. And
Hmm.
I was suspecting that it was either from doing OMAD solid for 11 months because I read a little bit how if you stay in a fasted state, your metabolism slows down because then now that's kind of like your new environment. So your body kind of slows your metabolism down to meet that. It's no longer just a stressor. It's just like, your new environment, how things are. So
Right.
your metabolism slows down a little bit. And so I was joined the steak and butter gang and I was listening to them talk about how they do these priming cycles. And it's kind of like, what is that workout where they always change the workout every week to confuse your muscles,
Oh, yeah, I can't remember the name of it. It was like,
Yeah,
was it P90X or something, or
something like that.
plyometrics, or
I can never think of the name, but what is that called? It's like where they every week they have a different workout and everybody goes to that schedule. There's a type of gym that they do that. But yeah, it's kind of like that for your
mm-hmm,
metabolism. So
right?
yeah, they got me on a priming a priming schedule. So I'm eating 3 meals a day, and so I feel like I'm pregnant with a protein baby today. Today's
Oh
my
my
second,
goodness.
second day. And
Wow.
it's kind of bittersweet because I feel I have more energy, but I
Mhm.
also feel half nauseous most of the day because
Oh, jeez.
I'm not used to having food in my stomach all the time anymore. And you know how satiating carnivore is. I mean, good
Oh, yeah.
Lord.
Right, for
Yeah.
sure.
But
Wow.
I'm trying to do two things at once too, though, because I'd always heard that, I suffer with, well, I don't know if I do anymore or not because I haven't had a blood test in a couple of years. I'm going to have one on January because that will be my 1 year anniversary of pure carnivore. I had a 1 year anniversary in end of September of ketovore carnivore, but
Nice.
January will be my 1 year full BBB and E
Mhm.
anniversary. But before that, I know my testosterone was terribly low, which that's a funny thing to talk about too, because I had to diagnose myself with that. The doctors I'd seen for 27 years never thought to check it, which
Mhm.
blows my mind. But
Right.
yeah, and I
Yeah,
mean,
that seems crazy.
it wasn't kind of low. It was in the absolute tank. I mean, it was 137 total testosterone. If you know anything about testosterone, that
Wow.
is
That's very
insanely
low.
low. Yeah.
Yes.
And I had to force them to get the blood test to test my testosterone. I said, I match all the symptoms. I've been reading about it, and they're like, to roll their eyes. And then it comes back, they're like, this is the lowest number I've seen. I'm like,
Oh, geez.
yeah, I'm wanting to
And you
slap
never
them.
thought to even check.
No, it's like, oh, I'm
Wow.
glad I'm glad you're the professionals. But so anyhow, but my testosterone, I can tell just by how I feel and just changes that it's got to be way better. But I bought these chickens. I've been doing chicken eggs because I heard that the whatever's in like the DHE and the stuff that's in chicken eggs
Mhm.
that it helps boost testosterone if you eat it on a large scale. And Raymond at the Steak and Butter Gang, he's my coach, and he
Mhm.
sent me a link about a video that there's some bodybuilders that said actually if you eat 36 eggs a day, it's like a full steroid cycle. Like
Really?
it's as good as taking steroids. And the fact they said you better only do it for about 8 weeks at a time, and then
Wow.
take a break. So yeah, long story short, last 2 days I'm eating 36 eggs a day.
Holy cow. Holy
Yeah, and
egg, I mean.
it's nuts. I'm gonna start growing feathers here pretty soon, I think,
Right. Or you're going to give birth to an egg or something.
for sure. I got so I'm doing 3 meals right now a day, which is too many in my opinion. But I'm doing 12 eggs, and they're fresh eggs from my chickens,
Right.
and like somewhere around a pound of meat, and I just make an egg bowl. And
Hmm.
man, that was rough yesterday. Yesterday was my first day of that. So
Wow. So what's the reason why you're eating so much? I mean, I know it's part of this thing
the
that you're
priming,
doing with.
the
Okay.
egg thing, and then the priming. And so I guess the theory behind it is to make your new maintenance to what your metabolism gets used to be at a higher, like, I hate using the word calorie because I don't think they mean anything, but
Right.
like just for an easy measurement, I've been eating between 1,700 and 2,100 calories for basically the last, you know, probably 10, 11 months roughly.
Hmm.
And now I'm eating like 5,000 calories for just a week. And then
Man.
that's supposed to bump up your metabolism
Hmm.
to think that that's the new available food environment. So your metabolism's supposed to ramp up, and then after that, I'm going to taper down to where I only eat one meal every other day. So I'll be on 48-hour fast. So it kickstarts your metabolism, brings it up, gets it running high, and
Hmm.
then you go on a series of 48-hour fasts, and it just plows through body weight. That's kind of the plan, and it definitely worked for Lindy. you
Right.
know.
So you're doing that essentially just for the weight loss, not for energy levels.
Well, I was doing it. I started this by asking him. I said, I think I might be under eating, but I can't tell, or something's going on because my energy and mental clarity and everything is 1,000% better than it was on the standard American diet. But just compared to what it used to be, it's been
Hmm.
tapering down a little bit.
Right. Right.
And I can definitely confirm that on 5,000 calories, my energy's been through the roof.
Wow.
So yeah,
But you
and
can't move around as easily because your
no,
stomach's full.
last night I was laying in bed. I went to bed at 11 o'clock, and I'm sitting there, and I mean, I just got this meat baby in my gut, and I'm sitting here going, "This is miserable." And I was like, I'm no stranger to overeat, and why is this so bad? And then I realized when I used to overeat on carbs,
Right.
I would also go into a food coma and pass out, and it wasn't a problem. But now I've got energy and a stuffed, uncomfortable stomach. So I'm like, I have like maximum mental capacity right now and energy. So I'm like, yeah, now I get to experience, overeating in like high definition, basically.
Right.
Right.
Wow.
Instead of being fogged out on an insulin, crash.
Yeah, that's man, that's a lot, dude. Yeah, so
It's
I started eating more naturally once I got down to my target weight, and my metabolism just started going crazy. And it's hard to get enough to eat. I mean, yeah, I probably really only doubled, so I'm still probably nowhere near what you're eating right now with 5,000 calories. But yeah, I was probably maybe eating 1,200 to 1,600 calories a day, and it's probably up around 3,000 a day now. Um,
Well, that's
yeah.
huge in itself. Like I know that, I got to talk to Raymond because when I talked to Raymond last Friday, I said, "Man, this is really going to suck because I've tried switching from OMAD to 2MAD, and I
Hmm.
wasn't successful doing that because I felt so full all the time."
Right.
And I asked him, I said, "Can I like just not eat as much for the first meal and just make three smaller meals?" And he goes, "No, you have to eat until you're comfortably stuffed." And I did. My first meal was normal. That was
Right.
fine. My second meal was rough, but I thought that I had reached comfortably stuffed until like an hour later I realized this is not comfortable.
Right. Nice.
Not feel good. And then I had to eat meal three, and I'm like, I'm already past comfortably stuffed. I don't know that, like, I got to eat this meal and I don't. So I just was like, I guess I'm going to gut down 12 more eggs and this meat because I just wanted the eggs because I want to see what the eggs do for me. And that was a
Right.
mistake. So today I've only gotten 12 eggs and a pound of meat down. I have 24 more eggs over here and 2 more pounds of meat I got to get down before tonight. And I'm going to gut it down, but
Wait a
we'll see.
minute. You so you're full right now, but you got to eat 24 more eggs and 2 pounds of meat?
Exactly. That's the problem. I don't know how.
What?
I don't know how I'm going to get through this, but he said, just trust the process. Lindy told me too. She said, trust the process, do it for just like a week. And then, because in the big picture of things, probably macro wise, it's probably going to work out close to where I was or just a little bit above it. Cause then I'm going to be not eating for several days, cause I'm going to go on
Right.
probably 2 weeks of eating every other day,
Mhm.
so it'll probably work out in the wash, but right now they call it priming to get all this nutrients in and to ramp up your metabolism and then go into these extended fasts. And I'm like, yeah, whatever, I'm game. Let's do it. So
Well, you're gonna have to give us some videos and report back and let us know how things are going with that for sure.
I'm definitely
Sounds
recording
interesting, and I'm glad that you're doing it, not me,
it.
because
I
I couldn't
believe
do
you.
it.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
rough for sure.
I hit that meat wall, and I'm like, nah, it ain't happening.
It's the worst thing ever.
Can't do it.
Yesterday, that last 12 eggs and that last pound of meat, and it was one of the most brutal things I've had to do in a long time. It was rough. But
Wow,
I mean, what a
incredible.
good problem to have though on carnivore. It used to be that I
Yeah.
had to always stop myself from eating the wrong thing or too much of whatever. And
Mhm.
now my problem is getting enough down. I mean, yeah, it's a beautiful problem to have, really.
Right. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's interesting. So the way it went with me was I started intermittent fasting to lose weight, and that was going okay. It was more of a starvation thing, and then I transitioned to carnivore because I wanted to reverse an autoimmune condition, and I literally had no thoughts about do this as a weight loss diet. I was doing it to reverse an autoimmune condition. I was just going to pair it with intermittent fasting instead of eating standard American diet junk for an 8-hour window. I would just replace it with meat, right?
Right?
And then the pounds like accelerated and started dropping off like crazy. And I thought, man, this is incredible. Plantar fasciitis went away in 5 days, and had problems with that for 2 years, intense pain. And so, anyways, after I started the carnivore diet, it was probably, I'd say 2 months in, I was eating 2 meals a day. And then once my body really got into this fat burning thing, it was 1 meal a day. And sometimes I would even skip a day just because I
Right.
wasn't even hungry. And then once got closer to my target weight, about 2 months from my target weight, my metabolism started ramping back up again. It's like, you need to eat more food. So now I went back into two meals a day. Very rarely will I go to 3 meals a day, but I'm putting in a ton more beef tallow in my eggs in the morning, and yeah, like tripling the calories that I would normally have for breakfast. So
I
trying
think
to
I
eat
got
as
to.
much fat as I can later in the evening too. So
Yeah, that's the other thing I'm eating with these eggs. And so I've never been that person that went and ate the cold butter and by the chunk.
hmm
It looked a little bit intense for me because I even as a kid I didn't like how like big chunks of butter on my bread or something melted was fine, but I did not like chunks.
right.
And I realized that I thought I was, Bella's big into the big, cold butter. In fact, they're very big into cold fats over there. They say that emulsified fats or rendered fat is harder on your digestive system.
hmm
So I've been eating 2 ounces of cold butter with each one of these meals. That's about 1,300 of the calories actually is in
Nice.
butter.
Wow.
But I'll be danged if yesterday morning when I did that first thing, I ate that butter. I had crazy energy. It was crazy. It was like I drank coffee and a Red Bull. It was but even clearer.
Wow.
Like I was like,
Wow.
okay, I think this is what I've been missing is I just haven't been getting enough fat too. So
Yeah.
and I feel you on the appetite coming up, but I think I kind of screwed myself up because that happened to me about 6 weeks ago before I started losing energy.
Hmm.
I kept my appetite was going up, but my old calorie restricted brain got in the way. And so I was trying to hold that at bay. I'm like, whoa, I don't want to go off the rails here and do something stupid, you know? So I just thought it was a thing. I think I probably should have listened to that more than I did, you
Hmm.
know?
Right.
And
Yeah.
so that's because I did finally, after a couple of days of fighting hunger that was not going away, and then I finally realized I'm not craving pizza or tacos. I'm craving a friggin' ribeye. So something, the signals are right, you know?
Hmm.
Then I ate 6 T-bones in a day and I felt like $1 million. And
Wow.
and 2 days later I lost 7 pounds on the scale right after doing that. And I was like,
Wow. That's
something's
incredible.
yeah, I'm like, something's going on here. And with
Hmm.
me, I can never tell on weight. You know, I think it's probably impossible to lose 7 pounds of fat in a couple of days, but it has something to do with when I'm stressed out and like I think hunger, when you're not listening to it, kind of puts you in a state of stress. And when I'm stressed, when cortisol's high with me,
Hmm.
uh, I retain fluid for some reason. It's very
Right.
strange.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's weird. There's just everybody has like their own individual unique experience, it seems. And like for instance, now I'm not advocating this at all, but there's been a few times where I have not ate on plan, and I was coincidentally in a weight loss stall,
Right.
and I would eat some carbs, and I'm not even kidding you. Like it literally kickstarted the weight loss again after 2 to 3 weeks of not losing anything,
Right.
and
Well, and I believe
it's
that's,
crazy.
I really, really believe that too. And I think it's to the individual because before I went carnivore, I was in the keto world for 2 years, you know, and there was
Hmm.
a bunch of people that would have, I forget what they called it, but they would take a day out of every couple of months and they would have a big carb day. And they would like, they
Hmm.
needed to get like their, I don't know, base glucose, stored glucose or something up. And then they go back into keto and they said that that would always help them break through, you know, like a plateau or whatever.
Hmm.
So I'm not one of those guys that don't think that carbs have no purpose in life. I,
Right.
I think that we've just overdone it, and also I think that our even our fruit and vegetable, I think we've ruined them kind of. We screwed them up. You know, we
Yeah.
through what I think what do you call that, botany or whatever over the last
Hmm.
100 years, couple 100 years.
Hmm.
Whatever used to grow naturally, we've commercialized it, and it's not right anymore. You know, it's
Hmm.
not natural. So I think we just
Yep.
have to adjust and be very careful with it. And carbs
For
mixed with
sure.
all, yeah, with all the
Yeah.
highly processed, you know, crap.
It's almost like, because you're eating so unhealthy for so long, your body's storing this fat in a certain way, and it's almost like, at least with me, if I ate those same carbs, it's like it unlocked the fat cell, to drain out some of the fat or the water or whatever it was that was holding in there to release it. There's actually a term for that. I can't remember what
Whooshing,
it is. What is it?
whooshing,
Whooshing,
whooshing.
that's right. Yeah. So I don't think that I'm to the point now where it's almost, I have, zero of the fat left. But after I've been eating this way for maybe another 6 months or so, I may try to introduce some carbs or whatever to kind of see, is it going to be bad at that point once I feel like a lot of my cells have been replaced and I'm optimal and things like that? Or should I go the other direction possibly and do more restrictive, like lion diet or um, fasting more, right?
Yeah,
So at least right now, when you're in the weight loss phase, it's hard to tell, if eating carbs every now and then actually helps, or a lot of people, it just leads them right back into addictions.
for
So
sure. And hmm, I don't know. I wonder about that too. I think when you get to a certain point, like I feel, and I'm not going to test this for quite some time, but I feel right now that if I had a carb day, it would make me
mhm,
crave a bunch of terrible things. But I also feel like I'm so rooted into this now, and I know it so
mhm,
well and I know for sure what it's doing for my body. I know for sure what it does for my mind. I know how easy it is. I don't think I would have a problem overcoming 3 days of getting back into ketosis or whatever it take to get past that, So I
Mm-hmm.
don't think it would throw me off the rails anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But it was, and that's kind of one of on the topics of, diet shame or whatever that I've really been thinking about a lot, because that was kind of what I've been thinking about, because whatever this mindset is on carnivore, one, my mind does work better and it's just way clearer, and I handle
Mm-hmm.
stress and even just like, problem solving way better now than I was
Mm-hmm.
before. I was just way more emotional before about stress and things, and now it's almost like I'm looking at everything in a third person, an overview, what's happening, and I can just I can just kind of add things up and connect the dots and make a better decision, not being so in my whatever, so in emotions
Right.
or cortisol or whatever, and just
Mm-hmm.
reacting to things. And that got me thinking about it, because I was like, man, why am I, I'm still a big guy, but I'm no longer feeling guilty at all about where I'm at in life. I'm no longer feel bad about what I've ate or how I got here or any of this stuff. I was like, what
Mm-hmm.
was that was keeping me locked in to this terrible image I had of myself for so long?
Mm-hmm.
Like I even put a picture up the other day, which I would have, I mean, even 6 months ago, you couldn't have paid me $1 million to let these pictures hit the internet. And now I put them
Right.
up myself. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking for them. Actually, is there a way to share a screen on here?
Yeah, at the bottom you can hit present and then share screen.
Okay, let me find this picture.
Hi there, Lindy. Hey, everybody in the chat. Appreciate
Hey,
each and every one of you for being here.
for sure. I
Yeah,
just,
on Carrie's live stream, I was asking Lindy if she's going to do a demonstration of the triple Lindy, Rodney Dangerfield style.
I saw that.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Did
Okay,
you find
share
it? Did
screen.
you find the present?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how this thing works. Oh, I think. All right. Sorry, I got to back up. I'm so bad at this. There we go. Now I think, because when you hit present, I didn't know how that worked. Okay. Present. Share screen. Share screen. I guess it's. I'm so bad at this. That wasn't working because I had two screens. All right, now I've got two monitors and it wasn't on the right monitor. Now I get it. So I got to
Ah,
put it over here. I got to hit. Sorry for everybody that's suffering through this right now. I'm almost there. Share that.
bear with us, everyone. Bear with us.
We're almost there. Is this working?
Yep.
No, that's not working
But
at
yeah,
all. Oh,
actually,
oh, there we go. Can you see that?
yep. Add to stage. Yep. There we go.
Do you see a bit picture?
Yeah, I see downloads.
My gosh, why is this so bad? All right. I'm so horrible at this. All right, I'm probably gonna have to give up on it, because I wonder if I could pull this.
While you're checking for that, what's one of the first diets that you ever tried?
The first diet that, well, was the calorie restrictive pyramid SAD diet. That was the
Ah,
one. That was the
the
oh,
100 calorie Oreos.
yeah, almost. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. There we go. Am I back on the screen here, or
Yep,
am I
you're on
still on
here.
shift? Okay, I was trying to get rid of the shared screen there. It won't do it because I was trying to show you a picture, but apparently you have to do it in the Chrome browser that I opened up live streams that
Ah,
appears.
gotcha,
So,
gotcha.
but anyhow, yeah. So they had me. So I went and seen a doctor when I was 12, and I was 500 and something pounds, I suppose. And
Hmm.
Yeah, and they got me with a dietitian, and that was I was supposed to eat 200 carbohydrates a day, and it was 2 or 300 carbohydrates a day, but I was supposed to have like less than 5% fat, 25% or 30% protein, and then the rest were supposed to be carbohydrates, and I was supposed to eat low calorie, low fat everything. And it was just the most miserable nonsense diet, that I'd ever been on. And that was even back when they were pushing the fake trans fats, the margarines and all that crap.
Yeah.
So it was silliness. It was completely stupid. And now I look back at it and this was the cycle that I went on from there on out. Everything was, went from those to grazing diets, have more fruits and vegetables and eat 6 to 8 times a day, and have
Wow.
snacks. And now it's just like, I was an alcoholic and they were telling me to have 6 halves of beer a day or something, you know what I
Right.
mean? It was
Nice.
it was just the stupidest thing ever. But yeah, I'd
Yeah.
always get super frustrated because it'd be my mental like anxiety and stress was so bad on those things and my mood would just come apart and I'd be super irritable,
Hmm.
hungry all the time that I get fed up and I'd just stop eating. I'd just be like, all right, I'm just not gonna eat. And I always felt better when I didn't eat. And now I know that I was in fasted ketosis when I would do that. And that's why I always defaulted to that. I would throw my hands up. I'm like, so I'm supposed to be miserable and can't think because there's just all this noise in your head of wanting to eat and this stress about not falling off the wagon and going to
Hmm.
bed hungry and you don't sleep and the sleep's terrible. And then wake
Hmm.
up with no energy, go to work all day with no energy. And your saving grace is supposed to be that you get to eat some celery sticks and some low fat ranch, and you feel worse
So
and you
disgusting.
yeah, and it's just like this is ridiculous, like I'm not gonna live this way. So I just get mad and I'd be like, I'm gonna not eat and lose all this weight. And I would do that several times in my life, you know.
Hmm.
I'd go on the stupidest diets when I was 17. I would have a pack of honey roasted peanuts in the morning for breakfast, and I would drink a Sobe Diet No Fear energy drink. And that's all I had every
Nice.
day for like 14
Wow.
months until my heart almost exploded one time. But I lost like 235 pounds doing that. And then
Wow.
every time I get to a point where I was getting dizzy, lightheaded, dizzy. My
Hmm.
heart was starting to palpitate and miss beats and stuff from all the caffeine and everything because I was subsidizing, caffeine for not having any energy.
Hmm.
And then I'd be like, okay, I got enough weight off. I'm gonna go back to that pyramid diet and I'm gonna eat 2,000 calories a day or whatever. And weight would come back on so fast it would, it just give you whiplash. It was nuts every time I did that without fail. And that's what I was thinking about because I don't, I no longer, I just had such a terrible self image back then. And it wasn't from being big, it was from failing, all the time failing.
Hmm.
And that's what was beating me up. And I was thinking about it because I never thought to question the practices. You know, it's just so crazy because they screw up the food. Then they give you a ridiculous diet. The professionals do give you a ridiculous diet. And then there's so much
Hmm.
propaganda and like brainwashing out there that they give you something that's doomed to fail every time, is not sustainable and cannot last. And then you do it, you fail, but you don't question the doctors or the food system. You go, well, there's something wrong with me. I'm not trying
Hmm.
hard enough. Like there's just something messed up. And man, when you do that over and over and over again, it just brings you down so bad, and you get used to blaming everything on yourself. And it
Hmm.
starts to become real dehumanizing, where you just have this real
Absolutely.
terrible self image of yourself. And now I look back and I'm like, man, I was kind of, I was so messed up in my head. I was just kind of an idiot. Like, it's so just completely, plainly, like brutally obvious to me now what the problem was. I'm like, how did it take 27 years to even question the doctors and question all these failed things? I mean, if somebody gave me a tool to fix a problem, you know, on in my job, and I was using the tool, but the tool never worked, and it would break down. It was busted, and it never functioned like they said it was gonna. I
Hmm.
wouldn't assume I was using it wrong every time. Maybe the first time, but eventually
Right.
I would say, "There's something wrong with this stupid tool. This
Right.
damn tool doesn't work," you know.
Yes.
And I question it, but it took me 27 years to question the tools that the doctors were giving me, that they were flawed. They were highly
Hmm.
flawed, you know. And I don't know. I just wanted to talk about that some because I know how just dark of a place I was in because of that, and how freeing it is to be away from that. That's one of the biggest reasons I think that I don't worry about diet anymore. I don't worry about falling off the wagon or anything, because I just wake up and I'm like, those, there was a reason that those things didn't work, and it's because the tools were wrong, right?
Hmm.
The diets were wrong. Uh, the doctor's view on nutrition was wrong. And, just like Sean Baker even says, maybe it's not wrong for everybody. I personally think it probably is, but it was
Hmm.
definitely wrong for me. It was definitely
Right.
not the answer for me at all.
Hmm.
And carnivore finally took my, it gave me enough ammo and enough evidence to question the doctors and say, okay, you guys are not right. You guys are not right about all this stuff. And
Hmm.
when that happened, there was just like a complete shift in me that just let all that crap go. And I stopped being so, like, I was going to show you this picture of me with my shirt off and all this stuff. And I wouldn't ever put that on there before, but I don't even care now, because I look at that old guy and I was like, you know what? Why I was so ashamed of that picture? It wasn't because I looked like that. It was because that person had me dominated, right? That problem
Right.
had me dominated.
Yeah.
I wasn't beating it. It wasn't that I didn't
Hmm.
that I just hated the way I looked. I hated because that thing had me dominated, and I couldn't beat it, and I couldn't make my situation any better. Now I don't care, because I'm like, whatever, that thing's going to be gone. It's
Hmm.
half gone already, and it's going to be completely gone in another
Yes.
12
Yep.
to 18 months. So I don't care.
Yep. That's one reason why I never took pictures of myself when I was fat, because it just it's just a picture, in my opinion, of failure, you know.
Right?
I wish I had those now, because
Me
I
too.
don't care. I wouldn't care at all about sharing those, because like you said, I this is actually the proper human diet. And it's so profound, that the mental shift that happens when you eat a carnivore diet, it's hard to describe for those that may watch this now or in the future. The stark difference that you have with your mindset and how you look at things. It's a complete 180-degree shift. It's like you've been in a fog, you've been in the dark your entire life, and you eat this way for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and the fog just starts lifting, and you see things in a much clearer perspective than what you did before. And, with a lot of people, I think genetically, they're susceptible uh, to this condition, maybe more so than others. And I think that I was in that camp as well. The food just chemically, the processed foods in particular, I think that they have somewhat of a chemical reaction, within the human body that somehow blocks. I wouldn't say maybe mentally, but I feel like it blocks you spiritually too, with connecting with who you really are. You're an eternal being, and it somehow just kind of helps to block or muffle that connection, so that
I believe
you're
that.
more susceptible to suggestion.
You're
And
you're
that's and
weak.
that's lit yeah, exactly. And it's literally, they say they are doing this, and all this sort of thing. Really, no, it's you're voluntarily choosing to believe the things that someone else is telling you. Um, and this processed food is helping to block your judgment in that area. Now, whether that's purposeful or not, I don't know, but we're consciously making a decision to believe these people. And that's kind of what I hope to educate people on with my channel, is to it starts much earlier, in life. We need to teach our children to how to think, not necessarily how to think, but how they can think for themselves, right? um, and not just blindly trust in authority. I don't want to get all political and things like that, but really, I believe it really stems back to that root area. You just can't blindly follow somebody just because they have a title, you know.
Absolutely. And I think it's even a little bit more sinister or whatever. I think they have the title for a reason. I think that we've been trained purposely to not question those things
Hmm.
and to swallow it, because I think that's in, like I said, I don't want to get political either, but I think that's whoever the powers that be, I think they know that, and it's an instrument of control, you know,
Hmm.
and so that they can try to, I don't think that the powers that be like the fact that there's 8 billion people on the earth and there's no way that they can quantify, like Jordan Peterson says, the fact he believes that there is intelligent design to the world, because if you didn't, every time you opened up your door, the world should be on fire because
Right.
chaos would be the natural order if there was an order through societies and throughout people, and order doesn't happen just by accident, right? It's not a
Hmm.
coincidence that there's this much order with this much possibility for chaos.
Right.
And so I really believe that some of the world powers believe that they don't feel comfortable trying to control 8 billion people, and if things went off the rail, it wouldn't, they wouldn't know how to do it. And I
Hmm.
think that they've done, tried to gain control. Maybe it's by nefarious reasons, but maybe it's just that they feel like if everything went off the rails, it could be a pretty massive problem for them. And so I
Hmm.
think people over the years have created these systems to put people in line and get them to think a certain way so that they can kind of lose their own independent way of thinking and things.
Hmm. Right. For sure. For sure.
But all I know is that I look back now, and this is what I really am trying to get through to people is I know how completely in this dark, hopeless spot I was, and a lot of that was because I didn't, I believe that I was 100% the problem, and that there was I was not normal.
Hmm.
I was different from most everybody else. I was different from any kind of person that was healthy, for sure. And I was
Hmm.
broken. Something about me was broken.
Hmm.
And there were and I had, I couldn't fix that thing. I was just doomed with it, and that was one of the most helpless parts of it. Had me feeling so just convinced that I was alone in this. Nothing could get better. And I don't take, it's not like I believe that I'm not responsible for this. I'm 100% responsible for this, but I'm not responsible for it for the reasons that I thought before.
Hmm.
now, now I know that
Right.
I'm responsible for it because I didn't do my own thinking. I didn't do my own research. I
Hmm.
didn't take my health into my own hands. I was delegating everything. And to even be completely fair, some of that was out of weakness and laziness of me wanting to believe that there was a miracle cure, a miracle pill that
Right.
was going to fix me. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? That I wouldn't have to, like Dr. Chafee says or whatever, that, you walk ten miles in the woods, you got to walk 10 miles out. I didn't want to walk 10 miles out. So
Right.
I was looking for that magic pill.
Hmm.
And that's my biggest problem. Before I thought it was because I was, you know, weaker than everybody else, less disciplined, lacked maturity and, wisdom and all these things. I thought that I was just broken that way.
Hmm.
But that wasn't what was screwing me up. It was me wanting this easy fix and choosing to delegate everything and believe what these people say. And now, I look at it and I'm like, so you guys rent health through medication. And this whole time I was believing that you guys were equally invested in healing me as I was. You know,
Right.
that
Yeah,
was
for
a pretty,
sure.
that was a pretty stupid thing, to
Hmm.
think realistically. So yeah, and that's what I would like to get through to people, because I can't even hardly quantify it in words how freeing it is to just have this power back to where I know that I'll never be addicted. I know that carbohydrates and poor diet is never going to control me again. You know what I mean? And
Absolutely.
that allows you to take all that shame away.
Hmm.
It allows you to just be happy with who you are, where you're at. And then that takes all the distractions away to where you can really focus in on kind of like the truth and meaning and the real answers to your diet and focus on what the real problem is. And man, it has not, with that kind of power, it has not taken long to completely turn everything 180 degrees around, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's incredible. I still, like you said, you can't quantify it. It's so hard to describe. And most people that hear me talk about it, they think that, oh, this he's just being fantastical about it. He's all in a tizzy because he lost a bunch of weight and whatever.
Not even the
It's
weight.
so much more than that. Like the
Yeah,
weight is like I don't even care about that. I'm
right. It's
reversing
just,
an autoimmune condition that literally modern medicine says it can't be done. Unless you do these $10,000 treatments and all this other stuff, and even then that may not work. So
right.
I mean, how in the world? How I just don't understand. Like I kind of do because people have that that block, that mental block going on, that spiritual block going on when they're in the fog, and they just can't. I don't know. They can't connect on a real level with somebody that has had an experience like us. It's just very hard for that to happen. So that's why it's
Totally.
super important for all of these carnivore channels to be out here and have so many examples of people and their ups and their downs, their struggles, their successes, and with the support of the MDs and the medical professionals that are into this too. I mean, that's validation for everybody. And yeah, if the world's going to heal, we need to get this message out absolutely as many places as we possibly can, so that hopefully one day our loved ones and our family and our friends and neighbors, we're all having fun together, instead of just
Yeah, dropping
being
all the,
being strangers, you know.
totally. And I totally believe that, it's just like, we got to get this out there where the message is, you know, sure you had a role to play in your demise, but so does everybody. I mean, we are perfectly imperfect people. I mean, we're all falling
Hmm.
into traps and making mistakes. My dog just fell off the chairs. That's what that
Whoops.
noise was. Perfectly imperfect people. I mean, we all are making mistakes, but man, it's so freeing to just let all that stuff go and just realize that everybody's in the same boat at some level. And so it
Hmm.
doesn't matter. You don't have to feel ashamed about it. You're not broken. you know,
Right.
you're not alone in this by any means. I mean, 74% of America is in the exact same boat. You know, everybody's sick for the same reasons. They just have different manifestations of the symptoms, It
Right.
might be autoimmune, it might be, cancer, it might be, whatever, but it's the same thing as weight, In my
Hmm.
opinion, I think that all those things are really the same thing. They're
Yep.
just different manifestations of symptoms. And so
Yep.
that has really just given me so much freedom lately because now I don't have to sit here every night beating myself up going, well, you're just broke. You just got to try harder. You just got to work harder. You got to somehow change your mind. I mean, that literally was just had me in like a stronghold, this headlock for 27 years,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
that is really, I'm starting to think is the best benefit of this because when you're not focused on that and you can look at the real totality of the problem and what the answers are, and also it's allowed me to do it more steadily over time instead of always wanting that quick fix, like needing it done, in 6 months or a year or whatever.
Hmm.
Now I don't even care. I know I'm not going to be quote unquote normal size or whatever for probably 2 more years. And I don't even care. I could care
Right.
less.
Right. Yeah. That's a
Like,
drop in the bucket, man.
yeah, 2 years is nothing. It's
Yep.
getting up every morning and
Hmm.
feeling great and having energy and also having the right mindset to know things I'm going to make a little bit better today that are going to make a little bit better of a difference. And, it's just completely freeing. Finally, when I was in this kind of transition into carnivore, things started clicking with me. And I used to always go, man, you're 700 and some pounds. You could do these diets and it could take you at minimum 5 to 10 years to get all this weight off, and who knows if it's even going to work, right? And that was
Hmm.
such this huge mountain to try to climb that you always ended up not even wanting to start because I mean it would just take the breath out of you right away. You just felt hopeless. And then finally I realized I was in such a bad spot. I was like, you know, maybe it won't fix me overnight, but maybe it'll stop making me worse. Maybe I'll
Right.
stop getting heavier and getting sicker and getting weaker, you know?
Hmm.
Because I used to think that the hard thing was not eating the bad food and that that was the struggle and that was the discipline and that was the sacrifice. And I
Hmm.
was choosing, you know, you had to choose to suffer to not eat the right thing. And then when I got in such a bad spot, I was like, actually, that's not the tough choice. The tough, if you choose to eat the wrong thing, I'm choosing to make it hard to walk and hard to breathe and hard to get to the bathroom. And, you know, every other area of my life is suffering and getting incrementally worse every day for everything I have to do to just even live a small piece of a life. I'm choosing to struggle so much worse by eating that bad thing every day. So,
Right.
where if you choose to struggle just a little bit to eat the right thing,
Hmm.
you just made every other minute of your day a little bit better. And you think that
Absolutely.
you know, you think that it doesn't matter, but I can't. I mean, this has been just 1 year, and I am a completely different person. It took 1 year to make me a completely different person. Is
That's
is so
incredible,
incredible.
man. That's incredible. Yeah, I love how you boiled that down to you're not broken, you know, like, and it's almost simple, to think of it that way too, because I mean, if you really think about the human body, you don't have to tell it to breathe, you don't have to tell it to pump blood, you don't
Right,
have to tell it to heal, you don't have to tell it to do all these, thousands of processes that it just does on its own.
right.
You're not broken. It's not broken. In most cases, with most people, it's not broken. There's extenuating circumstances with some folks, but by and large, people are not broken. It's you're poisoning yourself
Exactly.
effectively. It's just it's slow poison to the point where yeah, your health is manifesting in all these different conditions, like you said, whether it's obesity or autoimmune conditions or heart disease or whatever it is. So yeah, I love that. You're
And
not
it's
broken.
working. You're not broken. It's working across the board. You know, I look at my whole family and I'm like, you know, it's just another thing that I never seen before. But I look at my whole family, I'm like, well, so I'm broken and my entire family's broken too, you know?
Right.
Like, and now I've got, you know, me and my mom and my sister and my brother are all on carnivore,
Yeah, that's awesome.
all better, all better. You know, my mom's getting better every day. She's got a big mountain to climb like I did with hers is a little bit weight, but mostly she's got like dementia and Parkinson's and stuff. And she's,
Hmm.
you know, in her mid 80s. But her situation, do I know, is she going to be 100% better before she dies? I don't know. I have no clue. But what I do know is she's better today than she was yesterday by doing it. And her situation's daily getting better.
Hmm.
And I know if we weren't doing this, it'd be getting worse every day. You know, she would continue to get worse and to the point that she's in, you know. And my brother, he didn't have a weight problem, but
Hmm.
he has neurological problems. He got diagnosed with MS like 15 years ago. He's got spinal stenosis and he's got these uh he's got these nerve problems. It's helping him dramatically. You know, it's turned his life around. He was having like POT syndrome type stuff where he was passing out in the night. He would get up to go to the bathroom and he'd just fall on the floor passing out and he had vertigo and it was absolutely debilitating. That's all gone.
Mm,
You know,
that's
and
amazing.
yeah, my
I
sister had
just
weight, you know?
every day I hear of like two more things that I'd never heard of that people had issues with in this world, and that has healed from eating meat. It's just
Right.
incredible.
And that's why I told my sister, and I've been telling her this now for 6 months. And my sister just, if there was anybody like I thought I was down on myself and scared of, you know, trying again, my
Hmm.
sister was had crippling fear about stopping and starting another diet. She was just crippled by the idea of it. But she saw
Mhm.
me lose the weight. You know, she saw me in a chair. She saw me on oxygen, stuck in a chair, couldn't stand up for 90 seconds at a time, and she saw me turn that around. Really, I mean, I was walking and off the oxygen again in like 5.5 months. And she saw that. She went on it. She's only
Mhm.
like 5'4", 5'5", and she was 300 pounds. She's down 51 pounds in the last 5 months, which is huge
Wow.
for monstrous for her. She's walking and she could walk before, but she had really like chronically bad hip problems. Her
Mhm.
now she's like, the pain's gone, and I can move. And she's talking to me about it. But I was telling her, I said, it's dawning on me that all these names of these different diseases, they're just symptoms. Me and
Mhm.
you and mom and my brother John and dad when he was alive and Ty when he was alive, we all had this the same problem. We're all eating the same diet. We all grew up the same way. And these
Mhm.
were just specifically our symptom weak links in our body. Like yours was MS, ours was weight, dad's was diabetes,
Mm.
and he ended up with kidney disease and stuff. Mom's was kind of neurological too, but
Mhm.
all came from the same thing, same catalyst.
Yep. Yep. Plants.
Totally, totally. Plants, carbohydrates, uh, you know, hyper palatable, addictive foods that they shove down you and pretend like is the health food that you're supposed to be eating, and just mass propaganda and brainwashing, near as I can tell.
Yeah, it's incredible. It still blows my mind that literally one of the most simple, seemingly simple, gentle animals on this planet that can live a good life and feed somebody and heal them from all of this disease is just, it just blows my mind.
It
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 absolutely does.
it's like now I can understand why certain cultures worship cows. you know,
Right.
I mean, it's
Yeah, I
incredible.
mean, I do too. And then I was watching a YouTube channel, had nothing to do with carnivore, but it was this lady that her husband was from Cuba, and he was talking about how all the normal day-to-day people couldn't eat beef. They weren't allowed to eat beef. It was only for like the rich people. And you couldn't, like, you had to get a permit to slaughter a cow there, you know? And I mean,
Mm,
it was just crazy. And so he would come, and the fact that we had beef everywhere in America, he was literally making him emotional. He was crying about it. And I was just
mhm.
thinking, I'm like, yeah, so there's, and like, they worship, what is it, India, that they worship cows? And then Cuba, you can't even eat one if you're a normal human being. And then the United States, they decided to say that cows are going to destroy the climate.
Right,
And I'm like, is it just me, or is there like a global attack on beef? Which it's got to tell you something. You know what I mean?
right, right.
that, that they're going after beef. It's so crazy.
Mhm. For sure. Yep. Yeah. One hope. You're right. Um, I I was more referring to the human body in regards to it's not broken in terms of we
Correct.
it kind of does its own thing, right? It's sort of autonomous the way that God's created this body, so we don't have to tell it what to do. It's not necessarily broken. The what you're referring to is maybe the spiritual aspect, and yeah, that's seemingly a whole different thing for sure.
Yeah, for sure. But I will. I don't know. It's just, and I don't want to get too. I don't know. I don't want to get religious with people, but I do believe, and this is something that dawned on me going off of what you said about how the chemical stuff seems to be up our connection spiritually to between our mind. I really think, I always believe that we are a spirit, we have a soul, and we live in a body. And I
Hmm.
do believe that chemicals screw up the connection between our body and our spirit, which screws up things spiritually for us. And
Yeah.
I always thought it was interesting that in the book of Enoch, which I know is not a canonized book of the Bible, but in the book of Enoch, even the three priests, or well, three religions that canonized all the books of the Bible, they even agreed that the Book of Enoch is not a canonized book, but it was historically accurate, which I thought was interesting. But take it for what you will. But in that book, it talks about them talking to the angels, and they showed them like metallurgy, and they showed them how to do things in astrology. But they also showed them pharmakeia, which was pharmacy, which was medicines, and they called that sorcery. And I always thought that was funny because sorcery is where, sorcery is like some of the stuff that they do in the Bible that would deceive you. Sorcery was a
Right.
deception, and
Hmm.
that was in the Book of Enoch. They linked pharmakeia and plant medicine to sorcery, which I always thought that was crazy. I'm like, yeah, that's turning out to be very accurate right now, in
Right.
my
Yeah,
opinion.
for sure.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah. Along those lines, I'll dive a little deeper into that rabbit hole. When we go through grade school, we learn spelling, right? And
exactly.
that's another term,
Cursive
spells.
spelling,
Yes.
cursive
So
spelling.
language in and of itself is a sort of a program, if you will, a computer program almost. So
Do
it's
that.
definitely a way to get people to understand information the way that you want them to understand. But enough
I
about
believe
that.
that. I believe that. No, I believe that we could someday. I think we're gonna have to start like a I don't know, Christian religious carnivore channel just so we don't make
Right.
everybody else mad. But
Right.
because there are some really fun things about that for sure. But yeah, no, but the biggest thing is I just realized that guilt and that shame and that kind of, I mean, it really is dehumanizing where your world gets really small. You start kind of retracting and staying home more and not going out to functions because you have such a bad self image about those things and you're being so hard on yourself. And then it gets just, suffocating with that
Hmm.
stuff. And you're just, you're all wrapped up in that stuff. And it's so freeing. And that's what I want everybody to feel this so bad because I really think people that were in my spot, if they could start here and get away all that stuff, this would all make so much more sense and you'd have so much more strength to try again, because
Yep.
I didn't know, when I started carnivore and even keto, and this is why me and Lindy are actually doing a live show now together, is because I didn't see anybody else my size on carnivore,
Hmm.
but I believed I'd done enough research that had changed my mind that I believed that it was the proper human diet and that it would cure people. I just still thought I was probably too far gone for it to help, and that's
Right.
why now I'm like, I don't know that there is somebody too far gone. I really don't even know if I believe that now.
Hmm.
But I knew that it made enough sense that this has got to be if I'm going to throw a Hail Mary, it's going to be this play, that's the
Hmm.
only one that makes sense. And I wasn't able to get to that point until I had done enough research and started really thinking about things and how I'd gotten here and what hadn't worked in the past and started seeing these stories from other carnivores that had completely changed their life. And I was like, man, that does sound like it's got to be the natural truth to things.
Hmm.
We've only been eating the standard American diet for like 100 years. And before that, for however many billions a year, millions of years you want to, depending on what you think, but for several million years before that, we were carnivores. And this is how
Uh,
everything functioned. And it's like, it just makes sense. So that's why I was talking to Limitless Lindy, and it was so nice to talk to somebody, because when I was trying to find a path out of this, I didn't see anybody that looked like me on carnivore. And then I was talking to her and she said the same thing. And I was like,
hmm.
well, this is probably our purpose here on YouTube then, is to find people our size so that they know that you can come from this side,
Absolutely.
and that it'll work here too. And it was so funny because both of us started a channel because we at almost the exact same time because we both saw Bill and we were both there and we both said he needs to know that this works for people our size so that he doesn't have the same doubts that we were kind of having, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And so there's a lot of power in
Absolutely.
that. That's what I'm hoping people see and just let all that stuff go and just like I was just listening to Lindy on Carrie's channel here. He just did a live with her
Hmm.
and she said, you have to accept where you're at. And I was like, that's exactly it. I was finally comfortable accepting where I was at and how I got there without beating myself up for the 10,000th time about being there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Man, I don't know what we can do aside from, what we're doing now, putting as much content out there as we can, as best we can, putting examples out there, especially examples like yours, I think are particularly important for people that are looking to lose weight, that are in exceptional situations, like you had found yourself in. Because it's impossible for me to do that. I was only 80 pounds overweight, so it's somebody that's in an exceptional situation like yourself, would look at somebody 80 pounds overweight like, "Hey, what's that?"
Right.
Like,
For sure. I
yeah.
mean, I know that it didn't do anything for me. Even when I saw people that were 400 pounds, and it was probably the old sugar addict fog brain part of me that was sitting, because I would even see people who are 500 pounds and I go, yeah, well, they're not 700 pounds. I'm just too far gone. And now I know that
Right.
was sided and stupid of me, but I couldn't see it then. But I think to your point too, I think we do have, me and Lindy in our stories have a purpose, but I think every carnivore's got a purpose because, you
Hmm.
know, one of the biggest things that I love about carnivore, especially since I've been in the carnivore community and making videos and talking to people, when you were on that live stream the other night, I forget who it was a man and woman, wife and husband couple the other night you
Oh
were
yeah,
with,
TD and Faith.
2D and Faith, that's right.
Uh-huh.
When you were on there at that last part, you were kind of getting fired up, and I can't even remember the words that you said right now, but what I can tell you was I was sitting there throwing my hands up going, it's like atoms in my head right now because I would literally be saying these same things, and I see that even though me and you have totally different symptoms, right?
Right.
And I see that all the time. It's like 50% of whatever I hear everybody else saying hits things inside of me to a T that resonate, that are exactly right, exactly what I've thought before, felt before. And to me, that's such a testament of just truth and meaning in everybody. This is the proper human diet. This is true. There's no fad diet about this. There's no hype about this thing. These people are talking from straight results and life-changing results, and that resonates so much with me every time. I forget what you'd said. I should have wrote it down, but you said like three things, and I'm like, yeah, Adam is literally speaking words that I've spoken 1,000 times right now, the same way I've thought and felt about it. And I always find that that's amazing because me and you have two totally different paths, right?
Hmm.
But we have the exact same thoughts, and you know that there's truth into something, just unshakable truth in something when everybody from all these different problems and walk of life come to this same point and say the same things and feel the
Right.
same.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like,
so true.
yeah, it's like it just resonates with me every time, and that's why I think, you look at vegan channels and the amount of mental gymnastics they have to do to make a point about their diet, and the amount of like word salad that they come up with, and they're playing all this fancy stuff with these charts. I was watching
Yeah.
Aunt Chafee
And
the other
the
day.
macros and the counting and oh my gosh, it's insane.
Yeah, it's like sleight of hand. They gotta build like a straw man argument, or just to make a point off of a straw man every time, and it's like you don't see that with the carnivores. You see people going, "Hey, I'm not a doctor, but I ate meat, and this is what it did, and this is what I found out."
Right.
And every time it's the same thing. Didn't matter what it healed. Their their new, I don't know, worldview and their their revelations that they all came to were all the exact same as mine. And I'm just sitting here going, "That's incredible." That that's not a coincidence anymore. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah, it's a very cohesive message amongst everybody from all their different avenues and journeys. It's really incredible, and seeing all those stories has definitely helped me in convincing me that this was the right thing to do. But mainly it was Dr. Barry, Dr. Chafee, because I'm a business person, small business person, and when I heard them say listen, there's a lot to learn with this thing, but literally all this diet is meat, salt, and water. I ain't selling you nothing. That's all you need to do, and you're gonna get healthy. And I'm thinking, that's insane. Like, and this guy's got how millions of subscribers, and he's
Exactly.
making money hand over fist, and he just gave it up to everybody. That's the secret. It's like, well, that's not even really a secret. As opposed
Yeah,
to the vegan channels, it's they have to create this word salad because it creates a program for you to purchase,
exactly.
and only they can give you use my code down here and you can get logged in and join my group and I'll teach you, how many bananas to eat on what day. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Exactly. Yep. No, I get it. And like, even the steak and butter gang, yeah, they got a paid little subscription and you can hire coaches, but it's not built off of that. They tell you
Right.
every day and just put out videos. It's literally just to help craft programs that fit like your schedule and your budget and things like that, and just to help give you extra strength, extra power to achieve those things. But
For
yeah, they're
sure.
not even doing that. They're not sitting here going, you know, yeah, every vegan channel is like clickbait, like, here's this video on this, and if you want to know how it works and actually get healthy, do this.
Hmm.
And you
Yep.
gotta,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
gotta sign up
I'm definitely not discounting coaching and programs and all that sort of thing. There's definitely a place for
for
that,
sure.
and certain people need that. But for me, I didn't. All I needed to hear was meat, salt, water. I'm off to the races, man. I
Oh
probably
yeah,
went way too fast because I suffered in the restroom for it for a couple of weeks, and yeah, that finally leveled out. But yeah, man, it's been clear sailing since, and my life has never been better. I mean, it's absolutely insane.
no, and
Absolutely insane. The things that I've gotten done this year, I just can't even. I just have to sit back and take stock of everything that's happened. Like literally, in my photography company, we have signed deals with entire cities multiple times this year. So we've gained four more entire cities of youth sports in the whole city, all the sports, everything. And we've been struggling, since COVID happened, as with
Mhm.
a lot of photography companies. So that's happened. I've started two new companies on top of this. I'm working with the Carnivore Diet documentary. It's absolutely insane. Just got a new used car because my truck was a death trap. So it's just so many different things are changing
And it really,
alongside with my health. It's just crazy what's going
and don't,
on.
and it feels like a lot of that. It's weird because somebody's going to give me crap for saying that carnivore is a lot to do with that, but I really believe it. This, the same thing in my life. That's why when people tell me that carnivore is too expensive, they can't do it, I'm like, I don't think you can afford not to do it, because I'm so much more productive and capable of making so much more money now compared to where I was just a year ago.
Oh
Like,
yeah, it's
it's,
crazy.
yeah,
Yeah, we've sealed the deals on these cities, and I believe that wholeheartedly is because for some reason this fog is lifted, and I'm able to think, like 1,000 miles an hour. It's like, oh, hey, maybe I should check with this, director over here. Just send a quick message or whatever, and I'm remembering things, and it's just so much more productive. I know that it's playing a part in the success of everything in my life, and I just
guaranteed.
can't speak highly enough of it.
I know, I couldn't agree more. It's funny, we have so much work going on. Our business has grown so big since 2020. It's silly. We are literally, I don't know. I mean, right now we grew 400% since 2020, but the work that
Wow.
I have on my desk is like gonna grow another 400% from where we are now. So it's like 1,600% or something ridiculous.
Right, right.
And so the workload's over just so massive right now. But I wake up
Mhm.
every morning and me and my brother talk in the morning, and I just immediately have like all the details on the tip of my brain without needing, without having to write notes. Like, I know wherever, all the information that I need to relay for that morning,
Mhm.
it's right there at the tip of my tongue. And I'm like, this is so much better than where I was a year ago.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yep. Lindy says most people don't need coaching. For me, I had deeper issues that needed addressing, and I needed that extra support. Yep, absolutely. And it's awesome that there's options out there for people that need that sort of thing for sure.
Oh, it is, and I think, I wasn't gonna get a coach until I went over, because now that I'm doing a channel, I've been joining all these carnivore groups. Like I joined Dr. Baker's group, and I
Hmm.
joined the Steak and Butter, but I was doing it for information because I was like, I just want to hear the most stories and gain the most information so that I'm a little bit more knowledgeable when I'm talking on videos. I don't want to make any mistakes or lead anybody down the wrong road.
Hmm.
But then I was getting in there and I was like, this is amazing. They're answering questions that I never knew existed. And the more of these groups that I'm in, the more I love them. And so I'm like, I'm just hiring a coach for a couple of weeks. And I'm gonna ask some questions that, because they were relating to things that I didn't realize before were an issue. But I didn't, I probably would have been fine, but I really do think this is going to speed it up over there. But
Hmm.
I believed wholeheartedly in carnivore because of Jordan Peterson, to be honest with you. I respect that guy so much, and I think he's one of the most brilliant minds on the planet right now.
Hmm.
And if he's doing it, like
Right.
I guarantee you that guy's thought about carnivore way more than I ever did, and weighed all
For
the pros.
sure.
So I'm like, I trust that guy. So I was like, yeah, who am I to say that I'm smarter than Jordan Peterson?
Right.
So
Yeah, for sure. Oh my goodness. I can't remember. So when I found out about the carnivore diet from Joe Rogan, and I don't remember if it was his interview with Jordan Peterson or not. So basically, I think it was just a clip, and I don't think I seen who he was actually interviewing, but he was talking about the carnivore diet and how he has the same autoimmune condition that I have, vitiligo, and that he was on a carnivore diet for I think it was like 30 days or 60 days or something like that, and then actually
yeah,
started to reverse. And I'm like, say what? Like, like as far as
yeah,
I knew, this is no possible way that this is ever going to happen. And you're telling me that eating meat, I didn't even know what it was. He said carnivore diet. I'm like, what the heck is that? So I start doing searches and came across Dante from Ferrigno Freedom, and like Carrie, I seen him, and he looks like this guy that's like 1,000 years old and just is depressed and like in his early videos, right? He's got like the comb over going on and all that. He just looked sad,
yeah.
and then watched a couple more videos. I'm like, man, this guy's getting in better shape. Like there's definitely some kind of transformation going on. And then I seen his latest one at the time, and I was like, holy cow, this is insane. So
Right.
after watching, several videos of his, came across Dr. Barry, and that was it. That's all she wrote.
Yeah, for
So
sure. Yeah.
and then I came across Chafee, and Chafee said, "Plants are trying to kill you." And I said, "I hate vegetables, and I'll never eat them again."
Right. I know. Like, how beautiful is it that you get healthy eating ribeyes? It's like, I would have if I would have got results out of eating vegetables, I would have choked them down for the rest of my life, and I would have just dealt with it as long as I didn't have the cravings. It was always the cravings that I couldn't overcome. But if I didn't have the cravings and vegetables were really the answer, I would have just sucked it up and done it. But how freeing
Hmm.
is it to be that you don't have
Oh
to
my
eat
god.
broccoli and junk?
Oh my gosh, it's insane. It's insane. So at least in our house, you try to do the standard American diet, try to eat as healthy as you can, eat your broccoli and your vegetables and lean meats and all that sort of thing. And a lot of times, meat wasn't even on the table. It was like pasta, and stuff like
Yeah,
that, pizza and whatever, the most meat you get is maybe some chicken wings and some pepperonis.
right,
And then occasionally you get a ribeye because, oh my gosh, they're so expensive, or any kind of
exactly,
steak, really. Like meat is so expensive, we can't afford it because we're eating all this other junk, right?
right.
So, yeah,
Yeah,
it
exactly.
was
And
like eating like a king then, to have a nice steak like that. And now I get to eat them every single day. And I'm
every day,
spending, thirty,
less.
40% of what I was spending before. It's
Ex-
crazy.
Exactly. I know. I was just on a. Who was I telling that the other day? I think it was on Carnivore Scott or something. But I was like, yeah, I started adding up because I just realized I have more money at the end, I'm saving more money at the end of the month every month. What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
And because this is supposed to be more expensive. But then I realized, you know what I'm not doing? I'm not getting, a $6 cup of coffee in the morning anymore. I'm not getting, going to the gas station and getting snacks and whatever during the day. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not eating
Yeah.
3 times a day and then snacking and doing a dessert. Plus, I can't go out to eat hardly. I mean, I could, but I don't
Mm-hmm.
because I get so angry when I go and pay $60 for a steak that's worse than the one that I make at home.
Right.
So
Yeah, for sure.
I'm like, I'll make this thing way better. And so, yeah, and then I started going, you know what else I'm not buying? Advil, Aleve, antihistamines,
Right. Mm-hmm.
NyQuil,
Yep.
Pepto-Bismol,
Yep.
Tums.
Tums.
Yeah, and then I started really laughing. I'm like, you know what? My toilet paper lasts 5 times as long now.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah,
That's true. Yeah, because I'm probably making a visit every 4 to 5 days for sure.
me too. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't even ever hardly have to buy toilet paper now. And my garbage, I have way less garbage to take out. I spend way less on, garbage hauling and, garbage sacks. I do way
Yep.
less dishes.
Yep.
I dirty way, it's just everything. Your life really does come down way to a fraction of what it was of all the waste and the products and the consumption that you had before. It just comes
Absolutely.
way down. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's amazing.
Yep. For sure. Yep. One Hope says carnivore is cheaper. Absolutely, it is.
That
Yeah.
is a fact.
That's one of the things that I don't know. One of these days, I'm gonna invest in one of them animated videos, infographics, or something like that. That come up with something really interesting and fun that kind of breaks it down for people. That's like, oh, I can't afford that.
Right.
It
I mean, I
yeah,
would
it's
I would firmly say now you can't afford not to be honest with you.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Can't afford not to for sure.
Yep.
Yep. Sonny says, talk about the cost of meat. I used to spend $7 on a box of nutcrackers and $12 for a pack of 6 almond wraps. Ugh. I am
Right.
saving so much money eating carnivore. Absolutely.
Totally.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I know.
Yep.
I mean, I even went and bought chickens and now I just get free eggs.
Right. Awesome. Hey, Nicole, how are you doing? Awesome. Good to see you here. LCVB. I was just watching Rudy Giuliani's show. Good stuff. Well, we're not watching that right now. One Hope says Dr. Peterson is one of my favorite people.
He
Very
is.
cool guy for sure.
He's definitely out of all the people I'd want to meet in the world, he's the guy.
Right? Greg says, I've been a life coach for 13 years. Everyone needs a coach. Lots of unresolved issues. Very true.
I think I got to say this though. I think the ultimate coach is just, Jesus. But I
Right.
think that takes care of a lot of it for me for sure. But it does definitely help to have people that have got a lot of information in some of the things you're working on.
Right. Right.
Plus,
Yep. All the
yeah, to
energy
get
you get, getting your time back is priceless. Yes, absolutely. I did a video on that, on how much time you can get back. I wasn't even accounting certain things in. So, like washing dishes, you obviously save time doing that. Some people spend longer doing it than others, but I just try to put the things in there that I can quantify. And if I remember right, now this is crazy, Todd. So the time that I have saved, and I believe that other people can save as well by eating a carnivore diet, is it equates to 36 40-hour weeks a year.
that's crazy.
That
So that's
seems
like
impossible, but I'm telling you, I broke it all down, and with the time that you save with everything, and a big part of it is, normally I was sleeping 8 hours a night, right? And waking up groggy and not feeling that great. Plantar fasciitis still there, brain fog still there. Now I sleep around 6 hours a night and I
I was
wake
gonna
up and
say,
I feel incredible. So that
right?
alone, 2 hours a day, I've just recovered just by changing my diet and
Right?
all the other things that compound on top of that.
Yeah,
I
I mean
mean, it's
that's an
just
added
incredible.
1500, that's an added like 1600 hours a year. That's almost a full-time job. I mean, 40 hours a week is 2000 hours a year, 2080 or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's
It's
that's
insane, right?
yeah, I mean, think of the money that you can make by investing that time that would pay for 3 carnivore diets a year just in that time alone,
Right.
you know?
Yes. Oh my goodness. And that, I know that this by far is having a huge impact on our business. Being able to get up and get at it, and I feel like doing the hardest things first. I've read that book. It's called Eat That Frog, where they talk about essentially you take the worst thing that you have to do for the day, the biggest thing,
Mm,
and you eat that frog. You do that thing first, and then the next biggest thing, the next biggest thing, and
yeah,
man,
it makes
it's
everything
made a
easy.
huge difference. But before I read the book long time ago, but
Yeah,
there's just no way that I could implement it. I'm like, oh
right,
my gosh, it's an insurmountable task. I'll just do it
right.
tomorrow, and then tomorrow
And
comes, I'll do it tomorrow.
did you have any anxiety before?
Oh yeah, lots,
Yeah,
lots.
and
There's no possible way I'd ever be on a live stream.
oh wow.
None, none,
That
ever.
that was my biggest problem at work was anxiety. Whatever anxiety does to me is the worst thing that I'd really dealt with because I would get to my desk and I would have 22 things I needed to do that day, and I couldn't pick one to start with because it was all overwhelming every
Hmm.
time. And it was just miserable every day. Now, I mean, I pretty much sit down and go, all right, these are my priorities. These are the things I mean, I almost see like a flow chart of priorities. And I just start hitting them, and I love watching them all melt off my list every day. And it feels so
Yes.
good because you get to the end of the day and go, ah, I can sleep tonight because I don't have to carry this weight of all this
Right.
unfinished stuff that's looming over my head. And you're just like, oh, you feel so good. You're excited to
Absolutely.
start the next
Absolutely.
day because you're not buried.
Absolutely, and that's why I don't set goals. I set intentions because goals, at least for me, it sets me up for those feelings of failure and anxiety when I don't hit them.
Right.
Um, and lists and things like that. There's just things that I need to do, responsibilities that I need to take care of. And I know that that's flexible. So if I start creating lists and goals and things like that, I start going down that rabbit hole, especially if there's things that's been on the list for a long time that I haven't taken care of, or this goal that I've never even come close to obtaining. But yeah, it's if I did do that type of a system, it'd be so much easier. Just check it off, check it off, check it off, check it off.
Yeah. I write everything down in different lists of, these are things I got to do by the week. These are things that I really need to get done today. But then I always like kind of, I've never read that book about the frog, swallowing the frog, but that's what I do. I go, this one's going to suck the most. So let's just get it done and
Right?
just
Yeah.
go through them, and start clicking them off. And man, it's been so much better to go to bed at night and go, I don't have to wake up to a dumpster fire in the morning. So
Right, for sure. Yep,
this is
yep.
going to be awesome. No, and that is 100% from carnivore, whatever it did to my mind, getting rid of that. It just,
Mhm,
it's so easier to execute things now. You know what I mean?
mhm. Yep, for sure. One Hope says, "You men are lucky to not need any toilet paper. We women are not as lucky to not buy toilet paper." Well, here's a pointer, a bidet. There you go.
Yeah,
Some
exactly.
some of the bidets have dryers,
Yeah,
so
they do.
right.
They do.
Yep,
Uh,
yeah.
but yeah, yeah, it would be cool to see that because I was writing stuff down to make a video on that too because I've had quite a few um, questions about things, which is crazy. That's what I didn't realize you guys put up with as YouTube people. It's
Yeah,
all the questions that you're gonna get, and it's like
right,
I don't I don't know that one, so I've been
right.
trying to pick it up. But one of the things is how do you fit it into your budget?
Mhm.
And it's just like, man, maybe it's gonna be hard the first week because you got to buy some meat, but after like the first week, you start reaping the benefits of the savings,
Oh, yeah, for
and then
sure.
then you're just kind of on the easy street after that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. One Hope says, off topic, just curious as to how a channel would obtain a join button for people to join as members, like how Carrie, Dave, and others have for their channels. Been wanting to join yours, but you don't have. So at least for me, that's part of the memberships program. So I am monetized, but and that's an actual option that I can enable for my channel. But I've been struggling with what am I going to provide for this membership, right? Like I want there to be like some real value, and I want it something that to be that I can consistently um, add that value. So I've been racking my brain. What can I do? I know there's certain people that have asked this question too. Well, I just want to give you X amount a month or whatever to support the channel. That's cool and all. I just don't feel comfortable doing that without giving something extra in regards to that. So I just haven't turned it on until I figure that out. So I thought about turning it on before I do hit the road with Carrie in Canada to share things, sort of behind the scenes sort of stuff that we're doing with the documentary. And I may end up doing that. So Carrie does that too. So when we get on the plane together Saturday, I'm going to pick his brain a little bit about that and see if there's something that I can do to just be consistent in that effort to provide the value. So that's one of the big things that we do in our company is, try to provide as much possible value that we can for everybody. So that's really important to me. So that's why I haven't turned it on. So Todd,
I
what
don't
about
have
you?
the option yet because I'm not monetized, so I don't have that button. But I do have a viewpoint on that because I thought about it too because I recognize how it worked. I joined Carrie's and JT's and stuff, and they put stuff out. And that was bugging me because I was like, I don't know that I'll ever use, like, I don't know that I'll have a subscription because I don't know that I can provide anything that's worth that I'd feel good about people joining because I don't know what I'd put in there yet. But I was like, but maybe down the road I'll come up with something. But I'm more of a YouTube fan of people than I am a creator. I'm new to the creating part, but I'm a long time
Hmm.
YouTube fan, and I have so many like honestly, you, JT, Carrie, I would pay $3 a month just for the stuff you're already putting out because you guys are helping me so much. And so I do see the validity or whatever in that because
Hmm.
I think that as a fan of you guys and of the stuff that you're putting out, I would like to give you $3, $5 a month or whatever, and hope that a bunch of people would, because that would give you more resources and options to put better stuff out. So I'm like,
Hmm.
I kind of see that where I would almost like, I wonder how it would go if you said, if you, Adam, said, I'm not going to really be able to put much extra out, but if you want to join and it'll help me get more resources to make better videos, maybe hire somebody to make thumbnails and do editing
Hmm.
and stuff so that I can focus on content or whatever. I think there's some value in that because, I know how much I get out of your guys' conversations and videos and stuff, and that's what got me the information that changed my life. So I would love an opportunity to give the people that made a difference $5 a month. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense. I'll definitely consider that for sure. I have millions of ideas, but with
So
it's
much
it's
going
just
on.
a matter of time and and money, right?
Right.
So because I'm doing everything and I'm trying to run carnivoretoday.com website, the Keto Cookout Live website, my own YouTube channel, and volunteer. I'm volunteering more time with the documentary than I am with any of those other three things. So yeah, if there was a way for me to pay to have certain things done, I would actually, I'd be able to get more things out for sure. Right now I'm paying writers to professionally write articles for my website. So that's coming. I just got an article approved today, and I mean it's hard with those sorts of things because with the website you have to have links, to like from this
Right.
article to the next article to the next article, and then all those got to go to like this main pillar article, and at least that's what they're telling me. So
Yeah,
Um,
hyperlinks that
there's a
take
lot
you
of money. Like just that one article, I paid $175 for.
right.
So yeah, so I'm just trying to invest a lot of money in that. It's a free website for people to get connected with the carnivore lifestyle and just get as much information out there as I can for people. And I want it to be a really really good resource for people. As with my channel, I think I can do better with the website than I can with my channel because I'm not an actor or anything like that. So I'm just excited about this diet and what it can do for everybody. And like our video title tonight, this isn't your fault for where you're at right now. Your brain's been blocked uh, from operating properly with the poison that you've been ingesting, and you know it, there's a way out. And the carnivore diet is the absolute God's honest way for you to remove that blockage and think more clearly and take control of your life. You be the captain of your own ship, like Carrie says, and I believe in this 100%.
Yeah, I couldn't say it better. And yeah, absolutely. Just like Carrie says, you're the captain of your own ship. Like Limitless Lindy says, she's got an off switch now. For me, completely removed all the carb cravings and just I have a whole new worldview now about how things work and about my relationship with the things that are happening in my life. Now I'm not letting things just happen to me without understanding it.
Hmm. Right, for sure.
Perks and
Well,
benefits.
host, I joined Carrie's channel, not even knowing there were perks for only members.
Right. No,
Maybe I could get lucky with a, a bunch of members that don't know. No,
yeah, I mean,
but see, I couldn't do that.
well, you
I'd
could,
have to give something, but
but I think you got to just put it out there and just be like, this is because I feel you too. I hate it when people give me stuff, but also from the fan side, this is why when I try to go on to everybody when they're doing lives and stuff, I try to go super chat everybody a little bit because I just appreciate so much what everybody helped me with. That you don't know how much you helped me. Carrie doesn't know how much you helped me,
yeah,
but you did, right?
yep,
And
yep.
I know that if you're helping me, you're helping other people. So us as people that really want to change the narrative and get the
Mhm.
information out there, we got to vote with our dollars, because that's unfortunately we live in a world that's what makes the world go around. And we all need independent websites eventually because, love YouTube, but they're great. They're a blessing and a curse at the same time, the way they
Right.
the way they silence people, if
Hmm.
they don't like your narrative and stuff. So, yeah, I think the best thing we can do is the people that are putting the information out of there and really helping get the message out is we can help support them.
Hmm.
And but and the great thing about that little join button is it's a complete choice. You're still given plenty of great information. You're not doing the vegan carrot,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
where you're
For
trying
sure.
to sell them this thing. It's just like, hey, if you want to, go ahead and do it. I'll put some posts on there when I can, and I think to me too, what Carrie's doing, I think is the best I've seen yet. I
Hmm.
love when he does members only lives.
Hmm.
I think that's what I would probably do because then it'll condense the group down where you can just talk to people that just want to say hi or whatever. It just easy, they don't get washed out in all the comments and stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think that's really cool.
Yeah, that's a good thought. I'll definitely consider that too. I like that as well. Although Carrie has is seemingly has randomly done the members only lives, and I'm like, dang it, I missed it. Dang it, I missed it.
Right.
I did catch the last one just by chance, but yeah, I think he's working towards getting a more steady membership with that. So
Yeah.
yeah, I
Well, and
might turn it on. I know YouTube is bugging the crap out of me to turn it on.
yeah.
Like I get like 2 or 3 notifications every day.
Well, I'll
Memberships are
sign up. I'll
available.
tell you that
Turn it
right
on
now.
now. It's like
Well, I'll definitely sign up. So I would. I don't think it hurts, and I get it. But I've been being, I don't know, being in front of people now or having people interact with me. It's kind of strange, and this is definitely not in my wheelhouse of things that I was ever going to be comfortable with in my life. But now that it is, I just keep looking at my own channel, like
Mhm.
how I look at your channel and Carrie's channel as a viewer. How do I look at it when people want to super chat or whatever. And I think, well, I want to give them money because they're doing some great things and I want to help support it. And I realize that, people have lives to live and they only have so much time and they're pouring it into this. Let's help shore that up with people so that they can continue doing awesome things. And it's completely by choice, right? If you get value out of what Adam is saying and you think it's important, help support it a little bit. And it's so tiny. I mean, it's a cup of coffee.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Right.
So, I mean, I think it's awesome. And that's why I sign up with all the join buttons that people that I watch and I sign up with their programs and then I
Yeah.
love to super chat people because I just appreciate it so much,
Yeah. Yeah. I'm right there with you. I do the same thing. Dr.
Yeah.
Barry and them, I'll super chat those guys because I'm so appreciative of what they're doing and going against the grain of the establishment. I mean, it's incredible what they're doing. And I mean, I can't be thankful enough for what they do. They don't need my money. I mean,
Right.
this man probably makes $100,000 a month,
Right.
between all the things that he's doing. So, my $10 or $20, they ain't going to do anything. So,
Right.
but still, I'd rather spend it there than spend it on some other crap, Starbucks or whatever. So,
Totally. I always think about the stupidest things I've spent money on in my life, and I'm like, yeah, let's let's throw these at $5 and
right.
don't go eat that, drink, whatever I would have used to drink that coffee or whatever. And that's what I think. It's like, yeah, this is just a new thing. The savings that I'm have from carnivore and the health, I just put a little bit into the community because it's so important and it's just going to keep growing.
Hmm.
And that's what we're all
Yeah.
here to do. We all just want everybody to know the truth and the freedom and have their
Hmm.
life changed like we did. That's why I'm here. I have no delusions of grandeur that I'm going to be
Yeah.
some YouTube star by any means.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. After watching the ad revenue come in, uh, how much it shows that you get paid per day or something like that from ads. At least for me, it's like 50 cents a day or something like
Right.
that. It's like, yeah, this is not, yeah, keep your day job, Adam, because it ain't going to
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah. And, who knows, right? Where maybe it'll be enough to break even or, whatever, subsidize some of your time in 5 years.
Yeah, man, if it ever got to the point where I could replace my income, oh my gosh, like
Oh,
just to be able to talk about this all day long and do just help people,
yeah.
it would
But
be a dream come true for sure.
but I do think we're in on the ground floor, right? Because
Yes.
man, there's just, what I love about YouTube information is that even with all the algorithms and stuff where they try to push certain, whatever westernized messages that they want out there,
Hmm.
even with that, they shore up this one side with all this algorithm and all the money and stuff, and they try to shore up certain industries. But the industries that are just grassroots, but the truth and have results and truth, those things always rise by themselves, and then they end up pushing it down with the algorithm or something. I, you know,
Hmm.
I don't want to get political, but politically, I've seen that a bunch on YouTube, where these small companies that are talking truth, but not necessarily a popular narrative, they rise really quick, and so they have to stamp them back down. But I think with carnivore community, it is the truth and it is what's changing lives and getting long-term results. So, this is just going to be a huge, huge industry pretty, in the next 5, 10 years. It should be monstrous.
Yep, absolutely. And that's one of the reasons why I named my channel the way that I did, Carnivore Today, because most people, at least the demographics that I've seen is, the 40s on up, right? So everybody in that age range is familiar with, like the Today Show or Good Morning America, things like that, where it's just basically a conglomeration of information, right?
Yeah.
So that's, carnivore is, I niche down. Obviously, that's where I want to be because that's what's helped me and blessed me. And I
Mm.
want that to happen with other people. So carnivore today is effectively just a reflection of what people have already been trained to go towards. So really, if I can get the website to the point where it's like, main hub for carnivore information, and not just from myself and articles that we write and things like that, but other writers, and highlighting other carnivore channels, and just a central hub for all of it, and just try to have as much compiled information and broken down and separated out and easily searchable. And I've got all kinds of plans for that. And obviously it'll be free of charge. You can't sell meat, salt, water, but we'll have affiliate links and things like that, and partners where we can work out deals with companies to bring coupons and special offers and stuff like that they may not be able to get elsewhere. And obviously we would get an affiliate commission if somebody makes a purchase through that. So that would be one of the main ways to support that effort.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, to just go there. Well, I'll definitely sign up. I didn't know you had it, but I like when content creators have personal websites, because I like it when you get away from the oligarchy.
Right. Yeah. For sure.
You free yourself from that, because that is one thing. It's like, man, I don't know how these people cope when they spend 5 years building a YouTube channel. It grows to the point that it gets on somebody's radar that doesn't like it, and they can just they can just ruin you overnight.
Yep, for sure. For sure. Yeah, I've done some business coaching in the past, and I always tell those folks, do not conduct the majority of your business on any social media platform. Always have a backup, because you're not in control of that platform.
Right.
So even though you may have built this thing and it's still there, they haven't taken you down or anything like that, they still control who sees your content. So
right.
And you have no control over that whatsoever. So
yeah, which is an absolute travesty. So yeah, if I knew more about how to make websites, I would do it. But eventually, maybe someday. But see, that's what I'm saying. I'm a guy where I'm going to probably put that join button out there and say, join if you want to help me get enough money to pay people that are way smarter than me to build me a website.
There you go.
You know what I mean? To be away, to be untethered from, because we don't know our future with these platforms. You can't control your own destiny on these platforms,
For sure. Yep. And that's one of the main reasons for the website too. Yeah. Yes, I do have the YouTube videos that I've done embedded in each post. But I have backups of that stuff, of all those videos. And if need be, I can just upload that to Vimeo or some other video service and just replace all the YouTube stuff on the actual website. Obviously if YouTube shuts me down for whatever reason, that's down, but I've got backups that I can put all that stuff back up. So
right. Totally. Yeah. I think that's hugely important. And I hope that enough creators can do that in the future, that it makes these platforms rethink their business model, because people would have other options, and could not be so dependent on it. I think everybody just got laxed and kind of relaxed and relying on the platforms, and now they're finding out, boy, that sucks. They can pull the carpet out from under you at any time for any reason,
Yeah, for sure.
I'm probably going to be shadow banned from talking about it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Sorry, everybody. The signal's breaking up. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I want to know is, are you hungry?
No. And let me see if I can find it. I've got to eat this yet.
Oh my God. What? Dude, it's bigger than your head.
I know, it's so terrible. It weighs about 3 pounds. Oh my God. I'm going to be, I don't know.
Smokes.
I've only got 5 more days of it after today. So I got to man up.
I think that's more than manning up.
Man, I can't wait till I'm on that every other day, alternate day eating. Oh, that's going to be so nice. One, just to cook once every 2 days. Well, I'll tell you what, the reason why I had this big bowl of food sitting right here is because yesterday I cooked 3 meals, and I said, not doing that again. I'm not gonna go to the kitchen and cook 3 times tomorrow. I'm not
Right.
doing that all week. So this morning I put 36 eggs in a pan, 3 pounds of chopped up steak, and I cooked it all. And I'm like, I don't care how cold and nasty it gets. I'm gonna just eat on this 3 times today until it's gone.
Right. Wow, that's insane, man. I just don't know how you're going to do it. One Hope says, I'm no longer monetized. So sorry to hear that. Wanted to turn that on again, though. Just haven't got back to that. No big deal for me to monetize, though. So,
Huh.
yeah, I guess you just got to fall within the parameters of 1,000 subscribers and what is it, 4,000 watch hours in the last 365 days, something like
Yeah,
that.
what's that thing where now I heard somebody today say that there's like you can unlock one level at 3,000 watch hours
Yes.
and
Yep.
okay, I
Yep.
didn't.
500 subscribers, 3,000 watch hours. And then I think you have to post at least one video every 90 days or something like that. And then that'll unlock members, merch, and super chats and super stickers.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, and then what? Oh, and then the 4,000 watch hours unlocks
Is
like
the ad revenue.
advertisements.
Yeah.
Oh man, that big 25 cents a day is going to come rolling in.
Right. Yeah, one super chat like
Yeah,
completely
I was going to say I'll be able to.
overshadows the ad revenue. But
Yeah,
guys like Carrie and Dr. Barry, that have tens of thousands and sometimes hundreds of thousands of views on these videos. That's a good decent amount of money,
I'll tell
But
you what, I'll give Kerry props. He was getting almost twice as many live viewers as Sean Baker was when I was on his live the other day.
really,
Yep,
wow.
Sean, because I went from Kerry's live stream to Sean Baker's, and
Hmm.
Kerry had like almost 400 people in his live, and Sean
Nice.
Baker only had like 198 people. I'm like, wow, Kerry's crushing Sean Baker. That's crazy.
Well, a lot of times too with Sean's lives, he just does it like from a cell phone or whatever, and
Yeah,
his signal's going out all the time. I've seen him like just drop the streams and
I
and
love Sean Baker, but I gotta say this: his his paid like website group that I'm in,
mhm.
it needs professional help. That thing, that thing is
Uh-oh.
it is clunky. I couldn't find stuff. It does like somebody needs to help that man with the, like I'm only speaking from an like just a fan of joining places like that, but I was like, this dude needs a better website. This thing is broken.
Nice.
Yeah,
I'm actually well, you were just interviewed by him, right?
yeah, it was. Yep,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I'm supposed to be next month
Oh, that's awesome.
interviewed
Well,
by him, and
know this:
I
there's no
what's that?
backstage time. That's what shocked me because I had 2 questions for him, and
Right.
then they go live, and then all of a sudden he pops on, and it's like right into it. I'm like, oh boy, all right, here we go.
All right. Well, I'll be prepared then. Thanks. So did you happen to see the super chat that I sent him
I
on
did.
one of his last lives, where I asked him if I told him about the keto cookout?
I did. I saw that because I
Yeah.
hopped right over there with you, and I was like, "Oh, Adam's here."
Yeah. So for everybody watching here, I asked Dr. Baker to visit the keto cookout on Tuesday night, but in his Franchi persona.
That would be
So, which is a
awesome.
vegan, and yeah, so she could give us carnivores a hard time,
That would be awesome.
and
I'll tell you what, I think what we should do right now is everybody listening, and I'll promote this on my channel too. We all need to do like $5 super chat Baker to do the keto cookout as Franchi. And I think if he gets enough noise, he'll get on there because that would be hilarious. I'm full on board with that.
right. He said he didn't think he could stay in character that long, but he may come on as a regular person. He said. so but he doesn't understand the format of the cookout. You're
Right.
in and you're out. It's like the
Yeah.
Tonight Show. So yeah, he'd only have to hold it for maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah, that would be worth it. I mean, wow, what a good short clip that would be.
Right. For sure. Yep. Awesome, man. So, what's your plans for tomorrow?
Well, I got a live stream with JT tomorrow.
Okay.
And so I'm going to be hanging out with him a little bit. Got some work I got to get done. I got to somehow eat 36 eggs and 3 pounds of beef. Work on getting that down without throwing up. Uh, and somehow, but I'm counting off the days to where I can start fasting again. Because which still those words coming out of my mouth are blowing my mind. Because for 27 years, fasting was starving. So that's hilarious. Now that I relish not having to cook and eat.
Yeah, for sure.
you know, but so I got that to do, and then yeah, me and Limitless Lindy on Sunday are doing our live stream, and I'm really the most fun I'm having. I really enjoy talking with Lindy because, like I said, we just her experiences and mine resonate on so many levels. Like it was funny the first day I was talking to her, she had mentioned that she was being silly before she got on the diet and was kind of being a little crazy trying to walk on a treadmill. And she's like, man, I can't even do this. And I said, yeah. I said, you know, it's so funny. I got a treadmill when I was 700 pounds. I'm like, all right, I'm going to, that old system, that old brain is like, okay, you got to go work it off, It's
Right.
like I get this treadmill and then my legs were so big that my legs were wider than the treadmill. So I didn't even fit on
Oh
the
my
treadmill
goodness,
tracks. And
dude,
then
you got some stories now.
and then I lost 100 pounds and I'm like, yes, I'm getting on the treadmill. I get on the treadmill and what happens? I about fall on my butt because the track skips. So it rolls over the rollers are taking the track backwards and I push the track all the way to the front, like over the rollers. And so I was like, yeah, I got on and I'm like, yeah, I can finally get on this treadmill because I bought a treadmill that was good for 600 pounds and I was only 647 at the time when I got on
Hmm.
and the track starts skipping. And as soon as I said that, she goes, yes, exactly. That's what happened to me. The tread skips. And so it just like, I
Wow.
know that that's so ridiculous, but like, I don't know anybody else that I could share that point of view with. We go, yeah, right. The, the tread skips
Wow.
on the treadmill. So it was just funny. And that was when I started realizing I'm like, I think we should do a live show because there's got to be more people out there like us. Probably a small niche group, but also probably one of the most lost groups that need the most encouragement and to see
Right.
it that it can be done. And I'm like, maybe that's our purpose here on the YouTube carnivore world is to
Hmm.
let people know you can climb out of a, in Lindy's case, 771 pound hole.
Hmm.
So I'm like, maybe, and
Yeah.
so it's just been so fun. I'm excited to see. And I was so happy we did our first live stream last Sunday and we had 42 people in the live chat. That seemed like really good for me and Lindy's first live ever, you know?
Right. Yeah.
So
You guys are like my superheroes. I mean, it's incredible the things that you have experienced that nobody would even have a clue about, right? Like
right.
the struggles and the challenges and situations that you've been in, the the mental state, especially with like all the diets and each one just seems to bounce back and you just, gain a little bit more weight and you gain a little bit more weight. And I
Totally.
mean,
And
and the weight that you have to carry physically,
yeah,
I mean, it's just you people are incredible to me. To be able to go from that to a success story is just absolutely amazing because I can say that I had struggles and things like that, but I don't feel like my struggles were nowhere near as intense as that. So for
well,
you guys to come through that, man, is a testament to yourselves, and I commend you for that. And it's a testament to this way of eating, and yeah,
for sure.
I love it.
Well, and I really appreciate that. And, the thing is that I know what you're saying, and that is true on some fronts as far as that's it's one of the things that keeps you in that shame and that guilt is because you're like, how did I get this far gone? Like I
Hmm.
gotta be broken. I have to be broken to have gotten this far gone. And honestly, you know, the, it's because you ignore it because it's such a big problem. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that metabolically, people like me and Lindy just get in a bigger pickle, early on, and
Mm-hmm.
it's something that takes more intervention to fix, something that actually works. You need something that actually has some power to change things, and when you don't, it can really spiral quick. But that's why it's such a deep hole, is because you
Mm-hmm.
get into it so fast. I mean, I was only 14 when I was 600 pounds. I got into that hole before I could even really quantify things,
Mm-hmm.
but then when you get older, you're like, I'm still in this hole. Something's wrong with me. You feel super bad about it. And I think that's where I want people to know that just because you're 6 or 7 or 800 pounds or whatever you're at, you really don't have that much, there's nothing special wrong with you that's more wrong with you than was wrong with somebody that was 300 or 400 pounds. You just are more metabolically sick, is all. That's
Mm-hmm.
it. But it's the same problem. And so that's why I want to show people that you can absolutely get from here to there. It's even on your 700, 800 pounds, you really can. But with that said, it works in reverse. Your our symptoms were a little bit worse, but our problems are the same. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why everybody should take, encouragement with all the carnivore stories that we're seeing, because they're all a true testament to this being a very effective, truthful, real answer. That's why I called my channel The Carnivore Cure, because I
Mm-hmm.
decided when I was doing carnivore, it's like, I don't want to tell anybody I'm on another diet, because you feel so foolish from all the diets that you'd failed,
Mm-hmm.
and so when it worked, I was like, specifically, I saw Bill, and the first thing that hit me was, I need him to know that this is not another fad diet that's going to fail him.
Mm-hmm.
This one really does work. This is not like all the others. This will change you. So it's okay to feel excited about it and have faith in it, and have hope in that diet again. And that's what I wanted him to see. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the message I think we all really want everybody to know, because we've all had failed diets our whole life until we found this one. And like,
Absolutely.
I don't even think the people that lose weight on the standard American diet and veganism and stuff, I don't think that they go to bed at night like I do, not worrying about their diet anymore. I just don't think they do, you know?
I agree. I agree 1,000% on that one for sure.
Yeah. So no, I think it's awesome, and I do think, man, it's just fun. Going to be fun to work with Lindy every weekend, and it's going to be fun to see where that goes. I don't know. I think that's going to be a good time, and when we get to where we're not so terrible at it, we're gonna invite people in, because we did
Cool.
okay, but it was a little bit rough for sure, their first one. So we're gonna get a little bit better at it, and then we're gonna start bringing people on, and you're on that list. I've been wanting to invite all you guys that have been so awesome to invite me on, but I'm like, I want to not be terrible when I do it.
Right. Yeah. Well, we're all terrible in our own way. Right. So yeah, no worries there, man. I'll definitely come on anytime you call and ask. I'll be there for sure.
I sure appreciate it, man. That'd be awesome. And then one of these days I have to hit you up about my lighting, because my lighting sucks. That's why I have shadows.
Well, part of it's that big old hat you got on, brother.
It is, but if I take it off, you're gonna get lens glare. So
There you go. Well, at least your skin's not oily like mine and, shines.
I tell everybody, you got to take the shadow, or you're gonna have some chrome dome glare on the lens.
I seriously contemplated going to the store and buying a cowboy hat before tonight, but I ran
Oh
out of time.
man,
I have an
you tell
Indiana
me.
Jones style hat though.
Those are nice too. I've got a couple of them, but this is a Resistol, and it's been my favorite brand since I was 7 years old. So it's I'm a fan, but I had to do it. This is a funny thing too. When you were talking about your hair getting darker the other day,
Hmm.
that was one of the things I related to you on. I have, you can't really see it, but on the sides I have, over here, I have
Hmm.
gray hair right here.
Right. Yep.
That hair's getting way darker, and all my hair started. The hair that I do have started getting thicker, and the gray's going away.
Yeah. It's crazy, right?
Nuts,
It's
And I didn't bring it up until I heard you say that, And because I thought I was going crazy before. I was like, no way is this happening. And then you said it. And I'm like, I swear that's happening to me right now.
Yeah. I thought it to myself. I didn't even say it to my wife, and she didn't know this either. But my business partner, because we see each other less frequently because he lives an hour away, right? So we come together maybe every 3-4 weeks for a job. And he just so happened to see my hair and was like, dude, is your hair like, are you coloring your hair or what? Like,
Right.
no, dude, I would never color my hair. That's ridiculous. So not to throw shade on anybody that does that sort of thing. If that's your thing, great. But
Yeah.
I don't have time to mess with that stuff.
No.
So yeah, I was like, yeah, well, I kind of noticed that it seemed like it was, but I can't see the rest of my head. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Yep.
yeah, so he mentioned that, and I'm like, holy crap, it's actually real.
It is. It really is. And you know what else happened? I don't know if you can see it, but when when I was at my sickest, my eyebrows right here, the hair was coming off on the ends right here, and it
Mhm.
was all thin. And now all this hair's growing back on the side of my eyebrows. And the other day, I was
Wow.
on the Steak and Butter Gang, and
Uh-huh.
they said that that was a sign of metabolic sickness when the edges of your eyebrows start to recede. And I was like, oh, well, that was that. And now my eyebrows are growing back normal again.
Nice.
And so, I
Awesome.
mean, it's just the things, and like I said, I was 600 pounds when I was 14. I lost my hair when I was 18 years old. My
Mhm.
hair was almost all gone by the time, and on the sides I have it, but down the middle, it was gone. I've been shaving my head since I was 18 years old, bald.
Wow.
That's a metabolic problem. I
Yeah.
had no
My
idea.
grandpa was like that too.
Yeah. My
Yep.
brother John, he turned his hair, he looks like Father Time. His hair is just silver white all the way. I mean, he doesn't have a colored hair, and he went like silver white gray when he was 19 or 20.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's just I know that it's just some metabolic hormone problem in my
Mhm.
family and just caused all this havoc. Now, I'm actually if this and he lost hair later in his life too. But I'm like,
Mhm.
yeah, if I get one of the things I'm going to treat myself to is if I get all this weight off and get the skin surgery, I'm going to get the hair transplant where they take the hair off the back of your head.
There you
I'm like,
go.
I'm going to have hair again.
There you go. The LeBron James thing.
Yeah.
The ever-growing hairline. Yes.
To
One Hope
try.
says, Todd, let your head and scalp breathe to have even more of that good effect from carnivore on your hair and head.
I might try it for sure. That is one thing I've wore a cap every day since a ball cap or a cowboy hat every day since I was 18. I'm like, this looks so bad. I'd be
Right?
18 and I'd take my hat off and I'd look like I was 38. You know?
That's hilarious. Let's see. All the locals around here know what they've got. Very inexpensive to buy direct. My egg lady thinks she can hook me with a small box, though, of Angus beef. It sounds like
Yeah.
conversation going on in here.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Take the hat off. No shame in the bald head.
I'm working on it. I got to get over the bald head paranoia, and then Carnivore Scott called me out on it. The last thing I got to quit doing is I do have one bad habit left, and that's tobacco, chewing tobacco. And
Ah,
he's like, you got to cut that out. And I'm like, I've been chewing since I was 14. That's my last bad habit. And so I've got 2.5 cans left. And I said, all right, when I'm done with these cans, I'm not buying any more. Gotta
there you
gotta
go.
kick it. It's the last
There you
one.
go.
So in about 5 days, if you see me and I'm extra cranky,
Yeah,
you'll
that's
know why.
probably yeah, I used to smoke too. I started smoking when I was 13,
Yeah.
and it got real bad for a long time. And I got up to when I was like 20, I was smoking like 2 packs of unfiltered Camels a day.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was pretty bad. And then once my son was born, I pretty much stopped cold turkey. I did try the patches for a while, and that seemed to help, but stress happened, and went right back to it. But yeah, once he was born, my wife at the time was like, "Yeah, you ain't doing that in the house." So, and then
Yep.
I was lazy enough. I was like, I'm not walking outside to do this. So I stopped. But
I smoked
yeah.
for 6 years. I was a Marlboro Red guy, and for about 6 years, and I took it up because I thought it would boost my metabolism because somebody said, start smoking, you'll lose weight.
Mhm.
And so I did, and I got up to about 2 packs a day, unless I was playing poker. Then I'd chain smoke 3 packs in a night. It was so
Right.
stupid. And I had bad lungs anyhow, so that was the dumbest thing because it started really hurting my lungs, and that's why I quit, was because I hurt my lungs. But I can tell you this, it was easier to quit smoking than it was to quit sugar, soda specifically.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
I I could quit smoking 100 times over, and that's why I know I can quit the Copenhagen easy.
Hmm.
But it didn't. It paled in comparison to soda addiction. Soda addiction was so much worse than any tobacco I'd ever seen.
Right.
So
Yeah, you know what you need to try?
what's that?
Just get you some like collagen or just some real tough connective tissue and put that in there instead of them plants.
For sure, I should for sure. They do make those fake like the coffee leaf their coffee chews, so
Uh-huh.
you get caffeine instead of nicotine. And but I honestly I'm like I haven't had caffeine in 9.5 months now, so I'm like I don't think I want to even do those because I don't want to replace one stupid thing. Not that I think that caffeine's the devil or anything. I'm just really happy being off of it because I was on so much of it before.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think I'm just gonna kick it cold turkey and it'll be fine. But I might, I don't know. I'm gonna probably replace it with something because it really is the ritual. There's
Hmm.
something about for just there's something calming about it, the ritual of doing it that I just got used to. Like it was the thing that all my buddies chew at work and stuff. And so it's this thing where you're on break and everybody passes around, whatever. And it's just something you did. It's just in our culture, cowboy.
Hmm.
So I gotta,
Yep.
it's time to let it go though. And it was funny that Scott brought it up because I just, I don't like it's starting to stain my teeth pretty good. And I
Right.
just gotten on Amazon and ordered a bunch of teeth whitening strips. And I clicked buy, and I was like, I think this means I'm quitting Copenhagen because I'm not gonna, because I'm not gonna whiten my teeth unless I'm quitting. And so that thought
That's
came in my
funny.
head, and I was like, I think this means I'm quitting. And then that night I got on Scott's live stream, and he's like, "You need to quit that Copenhagen." I'm like, "This feels like divine intervention, Scott."
Right. I didn't know you
So
were doing it. I thought maybe you did, but I'm like,
yeah,
I'm not gonna ask.
no,
You
and
know.
it's a terrible habit, and I try to put it way down here. But it's if I for whatever reason it's that mental thing where I don't feel comfortable on live unless I have my little security blanket. And so
Right.
it's so stupid, right? These little things that we do that just become habit forming. And I swear that it's as much as the nicotine, it's just the ritual. It's just the
Right.
weird ritual of the whole thing.
Well, the
So
nick the tobacco is kind of like drilling holes in a boat, and then you have to go. The teeth whitening stuff is like buying corks
right,
to plug the
exactly,
holes. So,
exactly. As soon as I
what's
bought them,
going
because
on here?
when I was looking them up, I'm like, I know these things got chemicals in it, so I'm just gonna do this once. And then I was like, you're not gonna whiten your teeth just to stain them again with the Copenhagen. So I was like, I think this means I'm quitting now finally. So
Yeah.
and so I think, yeah, I'm there. It just, I don't know. I think everybody finds themselves in a time and a place where things are right, and I think this is the time. So yeah, it's let's see, 14, 24, 34. Yeah, so that's a 26-year habit going bye-bye. So
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
chew on some bacon
Do you want
for
some?
sure.
Yep.
You
Uh-oh.
remember that when you were a kid, they used to have jerky chew?
Yes, I do
Yep.
remember that. Yeah, and I would chew it and just eat it. I wouldn't use it like snuff or chewing tobacco or whatever. Just eat it.
Yep. Yeah, and
See,
it never lasted for sure.
chew really screws up your digestive tract. That's one more benefit from your metabolism once you quit. There you go.
I think that I would agree with that, but like I see people that chew that are fairly new at it, and it makes them have a bunch of saliva, and they're either spitting it out or they're swallowing. I don't do that. Like every live stream I've been on, I've had to chew, and you never see me spit, and I'm not swallowing it. It just doesn't do that to me. I don't get like saliva from it, so I don't think I'm swallowing any of it.
Well, maybe it's just like a constant flow that you don't notice.
It could be. It could be.
Right.
That's why I chew Copenhagen, which this sounds terrible, like, because it is, but Copenhagen has fiberglass in it because it pokes little holes in your lip, and then it seeps into your lip through those little holes. Where Skoal and Kodiak and all that uses acid, and the acid lets it soak through your skin. If I chew those things, I get heartburn because that does make my mouth water, and you do swallow a bunch of it, and it does screw up your stomach acid. That's why I don't think Copenhagen does that too much, or at least not to me, because I know what you're talking about. Kodiak and Skoal and all that stuff, that'll ruin my stomach.
I wonder, you should try that tomorrow. Maybe tonight. Take that sucker out, put your little piece of ribeye in there. See what happens.
I might, for sure. I've got 2 pounds of ribeye chunks here.
There you go. I love that. That's awesome. Now let's see. Chewing anything like gum creates enzymes in your digestive tract that fools the body into thinking you're eating. Throw that tobacco away.
It's going for sure.
You let the cat out of the bag now, Todd. So
I did, and I was hesitant the first few times, but I was like, you know what? This is part of my life. I might as well get it out there, and then I can tell people how bad it was quitting or not, on carnivore.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Not proud of it.
Be a lot better.
Yeah, I think so, for sure.
Well, then you have to go back and start chewing again, and then go on a vegan diet, and then stop chewing, and then give us a comparison video.
Go on the vegan diet so that I can chew on a vegan diet, and then the side effect would be gaining 500 pounds.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
On the all banana diet.
Right. Yep. Hey, there's Devin. That's my son. How's it going, Devin? Surprised he's still awake. I think he's on the road.
Oh boy.
Yes, but it absorbs into your system sublingually, and you are dealing it in smaller but extended doses.
That's it definitely does sink into your blood for sure.
Right. Yeah, it's probably just being absorbed through your skin or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
No idea. But all I know is I need to get a cowboy hat before the next time we meet, for sure. So what do you recommend? Like Stetson or what?
So Stetson's a great hat. I love Stetson too. They're the #1 hat company. In fact, the Stetson daughter owns a ranch right down here down the road. But since I was a kid, I always like Resistol. Resistol is like, Stetson and Resistol is like Ford and Chevy or Ford and Dodge or whatever.
Right.
They're the two main competitors, but I've always been a Resistol guy. I just think they fit better, and I like the Cattleman's crown on the Resistols better. So I'm a diehard Resistol guy. So
right.
I'd always recommend Resistol, but Stetsons are nice too.
Yep.
I've got a couple Stetsons, but yeah, if you have a hard time finding one, definitely hit me up, because there's no shortage of Stetsons or Resistols down here.
I can't remember what it was. I watched a show. It might have been like How It's Made or something, and Stetson was the highlight of it. And I can't remember what the show was, but essentially this person goes in and they go to buy a cowboy hat, and I didn't realize it's like this whole big ordeal.
It is, yeah.
To get the size correct, and the size of the bill based on the build of your body, and
your shoulders.
getting it formed, and
Yeah.
it customized essentially to fit your head specifically. So
Yeah, it is. People give you a hard time about cowboy hats here and there, but it is like a thing. And but so they have like an X count. Like I think this one's a 6 or 8X, which is like a medium road, but it's still like a $400 hat.
mhm.
But they steam it, because it's beaver pelt. They steam it, they shape it just for you. I like to this called a cattleman crown, but I like to get some of the guys have their, that up
Right.
like that. I can't do that. I have too wide of shoulders, so I always like to bring it down and get the brim cut a little bit wider so that it matches up with your shoulders a little bit better. But I don't know. I've always been a fan. I
Interesting.
think they look great. I see somebody in a cowboy hat, and I'm like, that guy likes his likes his style. So
Right.
I don't know. And if you get a good hat, it'll last your whole life. I mean, they have some Stetsons, some Resistals that are 20X that are like $1,500 hats, but man, you can dunk them in a bucket of water. I mean, they will hold their shape. It's just the amount of beaver pelt they have in them, but
Mhm.
they'll last forever.
Nice. You
So,
can use them in a gunfight and wrestle some cows and
you can. Well, that's the beauty of them. That's the beauty of them. This thing has looked terrible and been just muddy, dirty, scuffed up, and you just rinse it off, and just the water runs off of it. Re-steam it, it cleans up nice, and it always comes out looking like $1
right.
million.
Right.
So
Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah,
Well, let's see. My plans for tomorrow is 2 interviews, 2 ladies, one at 9 o'clock, one at 4 o'clock, and then I'm going to try to get those edited tomorrow night so that I can probably schedule those to go live on the channel on maybe Monday and Thursday when I'm gone up in Canada. So
nice. Are
got
you
that
gonna
going
guys gonna
on.
be going live from Canada?
Well, Maggie went live with Dr. Chafee up there, and the internet connection was really poor. So I'm not sure how that's going to go, but
You
I'm
know
going
of
to be
anybody
there.
with
Keto Cookout's going to be going on Tuesday, so we're definitely going to try to. I'm going to try to make that. Carrie will obviously be with me, probably photo bombing or something.
anybody
But
with a Starlink?
I don't know anybody up there with a Starlink.
Trying to think if
I don't know anybody up there. So we're
I don't
staying
think
on Maggie's ranch.
yeah.
So yeah, we're just going to be kind of beholden to whatever her connection is, and um, I have a business account with Verizon with my company,
Mm,
so I get priority on the cell towers and stuff like that, and the data transfers like a little bit faster. So I'm hoping
yeah.
that maybe if there is cellular service that I can use that if her signal's weak or something, but yeah, I'm not sure. It's a wild card. We may not even be able to post anything up there, depending on how the connection is. So
That'll be so exciting. You need that cowboy hat before you go out there and you start working on the ranch.
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, Todd. So Gary sent me a text and he says, "Can you swing a hammer?" I'm like, "What? What are you talking about? Like, this is a very strange question, right?" So I said, "Well, of course I can." And he says, "Well, Maggie wants to know because if we can swing a hammer because she's got like some chicken coops and some fences that need worked on and stuff." And I'm like, "Oh, here we go. We think we're going to film a documentary, right?" And she's
Yeah.
thinking fresh meat from the United States. So
Yeah.
so
You
this should
you
be very interesting.
Yeah, the barter system. Well, you're gonna know how to construct a chicken coop and string some barbed wire before you're out of
Right.
there.
For sure. So
It's not
yeah.
as hard as it looks. So
Right, right. So I'm definitely bringing a little bit of my equipment. So Canada has this thing that it's called Carnets. I don't have you ever heard of that?
no, I haven't heard of it, but I think I heard somebody talking about this. Isn't that where you're all if it, you can't go there for business without like a permit or something?
Right. So because we don't know if the documentary is going to make any money or anything like that, essentially, we're just filming friends at this point. It's not really
Yeah.
a business. And if it gets picked up, then maybe I guess you could consider it a business at that point. But that's years off, right? So,
Right.
but anyways, if you go in there and they believe that you are doing any kind of business that's going to take money away from Canadians, then you have to pay this thing called carnets, which is essentially a passport for any gear that you bring in,
Oh,
and they are super expensive.
wow.
Like I think the minimum is like $300 or $400. You can only bring in like one laptop, 2 cell phones, and like a camera, and that's it. If you bring in more than that, they detain you. They'll hold you up, and they ask to look at your phones and verify information that you're telling them, and all kinds of crazy stuff. So
Can you ship it ahead of time to her?
yeah, it's the same thing, because now you have to pay. If you ship it and it goes through customs and they believe that it's for business, and you didn't pay for the carnet fee or whatever, then you're in the same boat. And then now you got fines and stuff attached to it. So I don't know. It's weird. I never heard of it before. It's it's very crazy. Considering it's the same land mass. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah. How far away from the United States border is she?
She's north of Calgary. So
pretty
quite
far.
a ways.
Not terrible far, but yeah, it's
Right.
it's too bad you couldn't fly into like a border town and then rent a car and kind of put it under the seats and pretend
right.
like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I believe in like what Montana and stuff. There's roads where there's not even like any checkpoints or anything.
Yep,
You just
there is.
drive.
Yep.
You just drive into Canada.
Yep, for sure.
It's just crazy
Yep.
It's just crazy that they have these restrictions and stuff like this. So I don't know what all that's about, but I hope that we don't have any issues or troubles in that regard.
Right, because Kerry needs his fancy Netflix camera, right?
Yeah. So what we've done is we're bringing that the gimbal. I'm going to bring a cell phone gimbal. I'm going to bring some of my one camera body and 3 different lenses, and essentially that's it. So any lighting that we need or anything else, we found a couple places in Calgary that we can rent equipment from. So if we need anything, hopefully they have equipment that's available in Calgary that we can rent. So
that'd be awesome. Man, making it tough.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I would have never expected anything remotely close to that because it's Canada, like I don't know. It doesn't seem like that there's those kinds of restrictions on people that come in the United States, but then again, I don't know. So I'm not coming from that perspective. So I really don't know.
Yeah, well, that's crazy, but luckily that's his only out of state or out of country interview, right?
Possibly. So Dr. Chafee would be possibly another one in Australia. So we're definitely trying to film the doctors on location, in their office or practice or whatever. So that may be the one exception, because he does travel quite a bit. So we may try to coordinate getting him on film when he's stateside. So
yeah, I gotcha. Well, that's going to be exciting. I don't know. What do you think the timeline for the documentary is?
Minimum of a year. So
I figured 2 or 3 myself, but
yeah, it's likely going to be about 2 years, I would say. So just the documented stories alone is going to take a year.
Nice.
So, and you've seen when Bill started, and then we're running through the other candidates for the other issues and things like that. So, yeah, it's a huge monumental task and process, and got a lot of volunteers on board. Definitely thankful for everybody that's on board helping, and yeah, it's definitely my first go around with something like this. So it's kind of a play it by ear and, tackle new challenges as they come along and, do the best we can, learn from hopefully no mistakes, but I'm sure we will have some along the way. We've already had to shift gears quite a bit with a few different things and new perspectives and new insight. We've had a few advisors come on board helping, and that's been huge for us too. So
Nice. I was just thinking that the reason why I was asking is it just so me and Limitless Lindy and Carnivore Scott are kind of on the obesity
hmm
group there to try to do some research. But I was thinking, man, you know what'd be fun is if Lindy, Bill, and me all lost 500 pounds because that'd be 700 pounds. You know, you wouldn't even have to show up, but it'd just be kind
right.
of crazy. You know what I mean?
hmm
I was
For
like, I wonder
sure.
if I could get down there before they cut that thing. So there just even be a before and after picture so they could say there, you know, because I don't know, I I don't know any diet outside of gastric bypass that's brought people back from 700 plus pounds
hmm
that was sustainable. You know what I mean? So, and that was why it was so hard for me to believe in my head that carnivore could do it, you know?
hmm
But now I don't have a doubt in my mind. It's like, oh, well, this is pretty obvious that this is a cure. But
Yep.
that's kind of blowing my mind right now. And that's why what you guys are doing with Bill is just amazing. That's going to be so awesome to document it from the beginning to the end. That's going to be unreal.
For sure. Yeah. So Carrie kind of alluded to this before. So we got quite a bit of material for the documentary, the main documentary right now. And that's a go, obviously. But I would like to see, and I think Carrie does too. I can't really speak for him without him being here, but I think we all want to see a series that follows this,
Yeah.
and each one of those segments, the special segments, obesity, fertility, mental health, and so on, where we have another essentially documentary that's maybe an hour long that follows even more people kind of in depth
Yeah.
in those categories. But the first documentary that's done is going to be kind of an overall, a
Yep.
few deep dives with characters, if you will, like Bill. I don't want to call him a character, but kind of
Right.
that's the way you have to talk about it in
Storylines.
terms
Yeah.
of, yeah, right, exactly. So we'll have a few deep dives, and then supporting evidence and stories to go along with that. But essentially, the first documentary is going to act as a standalone, if
Yep.
that's all that we can do. That's done really well and cinematically and professionally. It's going to have a lot of emotion and just a lot of triumph and victory and success stories in it, that everybody will be proud of.
Oh, yeah,
That should
absolutely.
stand on its own, but it'll also, if we go to the series route, act as a hook essentially for that. So
I can't imagine that it doesn't get huge because who doesn't, you know, look at like The Biggest Loser and My 600 Pound Life. Those things have this huge audience.
mhm,
And it's really sad what they're doing to those people. I mean, your options were ruin yourself metabolically on The Biggest Loser, and then they cut you back into your real life without teaching you how to. They only addressed the weight, they didn't address
mhm,
the catalyst or the real problem. So they send them back
mhm.
out there, and like I heard, like 96% of those people all gained the weight back and even more, and were more metabolically sick as a result of it.
That's insane.
Yeah,
Plus,
and
they
it's
probably damage their joints and stuff too.
right because they were doing all that with that huge weight, and then the My 600 Pound Life, they're just cutting their stomach out. Well, my mom had gastric bypass and it didn't work, and my
Mhm,
sister has the lap band and it didn't work. So
mhm,
it's so sad when you do that. Even if you do lose the weight, you no longer absorb all the nutrients in your food, and so you're forever getting weaker and your tissue is dying after that. Your tissue's starving after that, you know?
mhm,
And so I know that there's people that take tons of supplemental protein and all this stuff and have to do that their whole life, but you're still not absorbing enough minerals and nutrients into your body. You're never going to be right again. You know what I mean? You'll be better
mhm,
probably for tackling the immediate problem that was going to kill you, but then you're just trading it for a bunch of down the road problems, and all of that when all they need is ribeye, and
mhm,
to not believe the cholesterol and that your heart's going to explode and pop out on the table if you have red meat.
mhm.
I mean, it's just crazy that they're doing that to people. So I think And that's just my point of view because I come from the weight side, but then the stuff that it's going to cure for metabolic diseases and autoimmune diseases and arthritis and all the things, inflammation and all the diabetes. I mean, that is so much more interesting than just you know, some crazy fad thing that they're doing on The Biggest Loser.
Mm-hmm. Yep, for sure. Let's see. One Hope says, I don't know how true this is, but Kerry told me in an email that he's shooting for Angel Studios. Like I said, don't know what to believe because he keeps mentioning Netflix. So I can kind of clarify this for you. Right now, it's up in the air in terms of any streaming service. So the goal is to get to the level of where the documentary will be picked up by Netflix, Hulu, Peacock, Angel Studios, as many places as possible in order to spread this message. So there's people that are sick everywhere, no matter where you go, and they subscribe to all of these services. So no matter what people believe in terms of their personal beliefs are of these companies and corporations, that's a little beside the point in regards to something like this, because we want this message spread absolutely everywhere. Now, obviously, I don't think that Kerry's going to take any kind of a bad deal or give up massive amounts of rights and things like this, and creative elements that we feel need to be in the documentary, based on having a cowtail to regulations or stipulations or whatever it is that these streaming companies want. So some of them may be off the table in regards to situations like that, but the goal is to get this message out on as many streaming services as possible. And if that doesn't happen, we're going to rely on the carnivore community to help get the message out and spread the message. So
Absolutely.
that's kind of the take on that. So let's see. Carnivore Kip, the documentary is a huge task. Yes, it absolutely is. And Kip, I just had another conversation with a friend of mine that actually shoots documentaries, and I haven't talked to him in 5 years. And I kid you not, I talked to John and I said, man, we're doing this documentary. I'd really love to pick your brain, bring out for dinner or something like that, and kind of tell you what we got going on and get your insight. And I kid you not, he says, once I told him what it was about, he says, dude, I did carnivore for 30 days, pure carnivore for 30 days. Absolutely changed my life. He said, since then, I've added in a few vegetables, but I'm mainly still carnivore. And people don't like me because I can't shut up about it. I'm like, are you kidding me? This is incredible. Right. So now
That's
he's wanting
awesome.
to be like really involved and help and things like that. So that's a bonus picking John up, because he started out as a photographer like I did, and he's blossomed into doing a lot of different documentaries, and a lot of them are faith-based documentaries where he goes overseas and things like that. But he does a tremendous job on all of his work. He's got a lot of great insight, and I found out he's a carnivore, which is freaking amazing.
You gotta believe that that's divine intervention.
Oh my goodness. Yes. It's just like things just keep clicking and falling into place. It's just unbelievable.
But that's, to me, that's so powerful because that's when you know that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Right. For sure. Yep. Yep. So that's what I've got going on. We're leaving, what is it, Saturday? I'm going to drive from here to Chicago, meet Carrie at the airport, and then we're both flying out of Chicago to Calgary, and we'll see how that goes. Hopefully, we don't get held up for too long, because I think our flight arrives at like 1 in the morning or something like that,
And
Sunday
that
morning. So
that airport's a city in itself. I've never seen a bigger airport in my life than that Chicago O'Hare International Airport.
right. Yeah, I live in Dayton, and the whole airport there is like, just one building at
Yeah,
O'Hare.
right. I know
Yeah.
we have the largest airport in Montana in our town. And it's just one building. It's got like 8 gates and they're all next to each other. You know what I mean? Like you can walk the
Right.
entire airport in like 6 minutes. You know what I mean? I got into Chicago International Airport and found out that this thing is like a city inside this
Yes.
airport. Yeah, it took me like
Right.
40 minutes to find my gate and walk there. And I was like, oh my God, this place is insane.
For sure.
But small town. So I'm from a small
Yep.
town. So.
Yeah. Yeah. You get in the O'Hare they got them like walking escalators things. I'm like, man, what the heck is this? This is cool. you know?
Right, I know. It's yeah, and you're like, why would you need a moving sidewalk? Oh, because you're
Yeah.
about to walk 3 miles and try to get there in like 7 minutes to make your flight. That's why.
Right.
Yeah, it was
Yeah, for
nuts.
sure. For
Yeah,
sure.
I bet that airport
Uh-oh.
has like the population of my town. You know?
Nice. One Hope says she lives in Chicago. I was just at O'Hare dropping off and picking up my daughter who went to Hawaii last week. Very cool.
Nice.
It's one place I'd love to go to one of these days.
Hawaii.
Yep.
Yeah, my brother was just there, and that's why I wore this hat. The first video I made. He brought this back from Lahaina, and unfortunately the shop that this came from burnt down in that terrible tragic fire. And my brother, because he was just there 3 months before that fire, and he's like, all those pictures I showed you was I was sitting on that bench that's burnt up, and I was at that shop, and I mean, what a devastating, terrible disaster, you know?
That's horrible. Horrible.
Yeah,
Wow.
feel so bad for those people because man, it's I wasn't there, but he showed me the pictures, and my brother never takes vacations. He's a workaholic, and
Mm-hmm.
he was dreading. His wife made him go down there, and he was dreading it and going
Mm-hmm.
down there because he's never enjoyed a vacation because he just wants to be working. And then once he was down there, he called me and he's like, "I don't know if I'm ever leaving." This place is a paradise. He goes, "You can't believe it." And since then, he's already been back once, and he's already got a planned trip this Christmas. He's going down there, and he's like, when you get all that weight off, because I'm like, I'm not walking around the beach being a bag of blue skin right now, you know.
Right.
But he
That's
said, when you
funny.
get all that weight off, you've got to come to Hawaii. We're going to Hawaii because he goes, I've never been in a more beautiful place in my life than Hawaii. So now he's got me excited to see what it's like for sure.
That's awesome. Yeah, man, I can't wait to get there myself for sure.
Yeah.
So let's see. Tam Steak, is the movie going to be on YouTube? Initially, our goal is not to release it on YouTube. It's to get to that wider audience with the streaming networks. And then if all else fails, yes, it most definitely will likely be on YouTube for sure. So, we're definitely, it's not going to be all for naught. So the message needs to get out. It's probably going to be one of the best produced movies / documentaries you've ever seen if it is released on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. As the best YouTube, best, yeah, whatever you want to call it, edited, whatever
Right.
documentary
Yep, for sure.
produced. Yeah, that was the word I was looking for.
Yep.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. How, so they don't have, how do, because you keep hearing, now like the new thing with all the music artists and stuff is they produce and distribute their own digital music. There's no way to do that with a documentary that would reach probably even near the numbers, huh?
In terms of producing it ourselves, or
Well, distributing it yourself, like there's nothing that would ever reach the numbers close to Netflix, right? They just have such a huge audience that to
right?
try to do that independently would be silly.
Absolutely, for sure.
Yeah. I just was
Yeah.
curious because there's all these small artists in the music world that are doing that, but I don't think I don't know what kind of reach they get, but it's been very popular. I
Yeah,
noticed.
it's all based upon their own personal reach or their business or their brand. So
Yeah.
unless they're collaborating with someone else, which in this case, obviously, we would collaborate with, Dr. Baker, Dr. Berry, Dr. Chafee, Dr. Hampton, Dr. Avadia, and be able to connect with their audience in a larger capacity, along with Carrie's and all the other smaller channels like mine everyone else's. So yeah. So I mean that's over 5 million with all those
Yeah.
different outlets. So that's considerable.
I wonder how you'd ever get on. Hmm. Yeah. Well,
So
I was
the
just
thing
thinking.
is, though, with all that audience, that's a lot of that is people that are kind of already in the space.
Right.
People come to them consistently that are looking for this cure, if you will, but so it's a little bit different of a thing to release it, to that YouTube network than it would be to have it on Netflix or a large streaming service, because
Yeah. Totally.
effectively people aren't searching for something like that on there, and it's just a whole different demographic and group of people that would find it on there. So even though a lot of the people that use YouTube are using those services as well, but it's just a whole different
Yeah.
animal.
Whole different ball game delivery system and way
Right.
bigger reach.
Hmm.
Yeah, for sure. I was just wondering how you would get it on Twitter or something. You know how Elon Musk let some of the Daily Wires videos that were kind of getting censored and whatever, he let him use Twitter as a platform. But I was realized that that would still be like based off of our Twitter reach, like the whole carnivore community. It would have to. That's the only way they'd see it. So
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and a lot of people don't like Twitter. That's kind
right,
of yeah, especially the demographics of this community. Like I said, it seems to be at least 30 plus, and a lot of the bulk of demographics, at least for my channel, is 50s and 60s. So
really, yeah, mine too.
there's a
Yeah,
lot of people in their 50s and 60s that ain't spending any time on Twitter. So
yeah, that's a fact. Huh.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
So how do they get most of their content? Is it through mostly just live television still for that demographic?
You say that again?
Oh, I said where do people in that age bracket between like 40 and 65, where do they get most of their content from? Is it mostly just like, cable television, or is it streaming services? Like even like
I
Netflix?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. Obviously, there's quite a few on YouTube, but yeah, the bulk of them is going to be cable television and streaming services.
I got you. Okay, that makes
Most of them are going to be streaming services because that's what everybody pays for now.
yeah, that's what
Cable's on
that,
its way out. So
yeah, it should be dead. I don't know why anybody uses satellites anymore. I'm an
right, right.
electrician, and when we're
Hmm.
doing houses, they're like, "Should we run some coax?" And I'm like, "Actually, I don't know why coax exists anymore, to be honest with
Right.
you."
Yeah.
Like you should have Cat 6 to some routers and
Yeah.
everything, you should have Cat 6 to your televisions because everything's streaming now, and I don't know how satellites even exist anymore, to be honest with
Yeah.
you. So,
Yeah. I agree for sure.
hmm.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Let's
interesting.
see.
Yeah, when you said that demographic, I never thought of that before, but I was like, yeah, how are those people getting their content? Because if they don't like, I was thinking of my mom. She doesn't know what Twitter is, but also she doesn't understand that YouTube's not a network television station that she's watching. Because I have YouTube on
Right.
her
Right.
screen now, and she thinks it's like channel 4 or something. She just has to click to start the channel now. She
Hmm.
doesn't
For
know
sure.
the difference.
Yep. Let's see. Sarah says, I'll keep Adam, Carey, Maggie, and others involved in this collection of film in my prayers. Thank you so much for that,
Thank
Sarah.
you very much.
May their messages be captured in a way that captures the attention of the future viewers. We definitely hope for that for sure, and definitely appreciate you and your thoughts and prayers for us. And we'll definitely keep that in our back pocket while we're up there. And
For sure.
hopefully it provides some assistance when we got to start swinging hammers.
Yeah, exactly. Or if you see one of them Kodiaks, you might you just got to be faster than Carrie is all.
Yeah,
Don't
right.
you're not going to be faster than Maggie. She's been a
Yeah,
carnivore too.
I can't even. So I can't. I'm a little worried just because of what Chafee said. Now Chafee is a massive dude, right?
Mhm.
Like and he's a rugby player, professional rugby player. And he said that he would not get in the pen with them cattle. But Maggie's up there like wrestling them, wrangling them, grabbing them by the horns and stuff. So I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little concerned. So,
well, they don't make them like that anymore. It was funny. My mom was out with my grandmother out at the ranch because she's lived on a ranch in Montana her whole life, And I remember she was telling me a story when grandma was like 88 or 89. Some people, some relatives from the family were out visiting her, and there was a rattlesnake out there and everybody freaked out. And while everybody's freaking out about what to do and running around, grandma just grabbed a shovel and went over there and cut its head off, tossed it across the road, threw the head away. Just like, what are you guys making a fuss about? It's just a rattlesnake, So yeah, those old ladies,
nice.
they're different for sure. Yeah, that'd be funny. I could imagine her being a carnivore going over there and pushing a steer around.
Right? Yeah, oh my goodness. It's going to be an experience for sure, and we're we're going to be recording every ounce that we can. So
it's going to be awesome. Yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be a pretty amazing documentary. But what I'm looking forward to is, man, I just really believe the genuineness of how people's real life experiences and how it really changed them. I think that's going to shine through because that's what just in this community and these YouTube channels, this is what I see in everybody. There's no ulterior motives in anybody. You know what I mean? Just like your friend was like, can't shut up about it, and he's only been on it 30 days. I mean, that happens to like every carnivore I know.
Right.
Yep, so when you think about
exactly.
it, how could this not turn into the biggest thing diet wise and medical intervention wise in the next 10 years that anybody's ever seen? Because I don't know anybody more enthusiastic about just the changes it makes. Everybody, my sister, she's been on it, 4.5, 5 months, and she won't shut up about it now. I talked to my brother, and he's, been on it about a year with me, and he's maybe even longer. And, he's like, it's like every other day I have a conversation. He's like, yeah, I was on the job site and the foreman was having, this problem with arthritis. And I told him he's got to go carnivore. So we had a 2-hour carnivore conversation.
Right. Yeah, that's for sure. CIRS Linus, all the carnivores I know are genuine and sincere people. Absolutely.
Yep. And it comes through like you can't duplicate that, right? You can't act that, And that's what I see. I mean, it just resonates from everybody. It's almost like a whatever the carnivore glow is too, there's like another part of that that's just, very deep gut felt sincerity,
Absolutely, for sure. Yep. Well, I think I'm going to have to cut it short here. I got an interview early in the morning, and I still got a little bit of work I got to do tonight to get some high school photos completed and uploaded and face matched and all kinds of funny stuff. So
right on. Well, I sure appreciate it. Thank you very much for having me on. I love talking with you. So
I appreciate you, Todd. Yep, absolutely. We need to do this anytime, and I'm ready to come on your channel when you're ready, and we'll cut it up and have some fun and spread the message.
Definitely will. Nope, that'll be a good time for sure. So appreciate all you guys tuning in and commenting. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Much love to everyone that's been here with us and hanging out in the chat and chopping it up with us. We definitely appreciate each and every one of you, and we hope to see you again. And with that, good night, everybody. Appreciate you.